Starting here. Have you noticed the place is a lot cleaner looking now?
What? In the camera angle, it's not.
Oh no, it's exactly the same here. Whenever the room is always clean whenever it's something in front of the camera.
That's right.
Although I was editing all morning today, so there's still a sandwich wrapper over there and everything. Okay, we're just taking a look at stream health and everything right now. All right, so okay, yeah. Welcome to our latest super chat stream, where I'll be doing the second floor levels of Super Mario 64, and we'll be taking super chat questions from people. So if you want to ask us a question or promote anything for us, promote anything of yours.
Yeah.
If you would like to shoot us a message promoting our videos, by all means. Okay. Make sure everything's okay. God, I'm so tired.
Well, if you want to live stream your nap, you know.
That's what. Oh, don't worry. I did that, dear, when we were doing another Cinema Snob movie live streams, where I did the one that went, I don't know, 16, 17, 18 hours or something like that. Because I was going until it crossed the 50,000, which was the minimum we were asking for. So it ended up crossing the 50,000 when I was taking a nap. I was sitting there like, my heart is starting to hurt. I need to take a nap. Okay, so are we sounding fine for everyone? I take it that's the case, since
nobody's commenting. We can't hear, so.
Well, I'm just keeping an eye on the stream health here for a second. Since it's, okay, it just went to green. It was sitting there at orange. But anyway, so please subscribe to our channel. Pass our channel around. We're at youtube.com/StoneGremlinProductions. Click the little Lloyd icon to subscribe and get alerts whenever we go live. Also follow us on Twitter as well. At the Twitter at the Cinema Snob. So I don't think this will take as long as it did last time, but I might have just jinxed it by saying that.
Yeah, well, you said now we're in for it all day.
Yeah, so. Like, never mind 3.5 hours. This is there was the minimum. Yeah, we went 3.5 hours last time. I'm so tired right now that I'm glad I am playing a game that I am incredibly familiar with. So, Dave and I were at Medea family funeral last night. We were at a late screening for it, because Dave didn't get. I'm gonna do this because it's my least favorite level. So. Dave and I, we're the late screening for that because Dave didn't get home until late, because Dave works about 80 minutes outside of town. And so I didn't we reviewed it and then got home, and I was doing some stuff at home and didn't get to bed until a little late. And I got the new Snob episode edited earlier, and I got up at about 6 to do that, so I really only got a few hours of sleep. So I will be running on slight fumes for this.
That's all right.
Again, I said, luckily I don't remember the last time I really didn't play this game on fumes, so it all kind of works out. All right, get me up there.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Piece of shit. So, yeah, send us, oh, thank you. That's actually really what I wanted to do. But yeah, if you want to ask us a question or promote anything of yours, again, like I said, shoot us a super chat message. We've got it popped up on the screen over there. Otherwise, yeah, we're just gonna be shooting the shit for a while. So you've only been up for about an hour or so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was up super late last night working myself.
Oh, gotcha.
So working on the movie.
Yeah.
There's another Cinema Snob movie, working on the edit for that.
Yeah.
And also we're close to releasing that new DVD.
The Punches Nazis.
The
DVD,
Cinema Snob Punches Nazis. We were working late on that this week as well. So yeah, it's been a I'm 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 a little more well rested today, but just because my wife was kind enough to take care of Caroline this morning and allow me to sleep in. So
Yeah.
but they're off having fun today. So I think I'm gonna take Caroline to see the Lego Movie.
Oh, you going to see that again?
Yeah, I'll see it again.
Dude, well, why? Medea's playing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure my 5-year-old would love the Medea movie.
Oh, I'm sure there was a 10-year-old next to me in the theater last night who was asleep.
Oh no.
And bravo for him being able to fall asleep because the rest of the theater was loud.
Yeah, they were enjoying it.
Yeah, and not only so much that the audience was crazy into it like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The movie itself was turned up really, really, really loud.
Really?
Yeah. Like we could tell that from the previews, so I had a little bit of a headache watching the movie.
I tell you that it is hard sometimes. They do really seem to crank it louder at which theater did you see it at?
12.
12.
Yeah.
They really seem to crank some of those theaters really loud. And I'm not like a super sensitive, sound guy, but when it's too damn loud, it's too damn loud, Especially with how deaf I've gotten in my older age. If it's too loud for me, it's too loud, you can crank it down a little bit.
You should have been there when they first opened up the IMAX because they hadn't worked the kinks out with the sound on the IMAX. So during the trailers, it was seriously deafening. Like people were constantly going out and telling management it is way too loud in there. We get everyone's covering their ears. Yeah, oh shit. Yeah, everyone was sitting there covering their ears, and to make matters louder, this was when they were heavily advertising Dunkirk.
Oh God!
And
yeah.
it was the IMAX trailer for Dunkirk that they were doing that with.
Oh my God!
And
you felt like you were there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you left traumatized, so it really was like you were there.
Yeah. The deal with that was it would be louder in the trailers because when people went out to tell management that the IMAX was way too loud, there was nothing they could do about it because it automatically adjusts its own volume. So when the movie would actually start, then it would kind of correct itself a little bit. But you just had to sit through these loud IMAX trailers.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So we have a super chat comment.
Oh, cool.
From DBZ fan 22. It says, "Dear Strong Brad, how do you snob?
Strong Brad.
How do you snob with boxing gloves on?"
What?
I don't know.
Is that a knock-knock joke?
I don't know. Is that a reference to something?
Snobbing with boxing gloves. Did I ever wear boxing gloves in it?
How do you snob with boxing gloves on?
By punching the wall. Beats me. Thank you for that in-depth question. I don't know. I did one boxing movie, I think. I think it was Macho Man or whatever it was called. Other than that, I guess I'm not entirely sure how to snob with boxing gloves on. I'll have to do an episode on Ricky 1, I guess.
Right.
The Rocky parody. Okay, so I got a few. Still trying to figure out that question. Never mind Secrets in the Shallows and Sky was a secret to that question.
Yeah.
Oops. Come on. I think for the last one that we do of these, we just sit here and say nothing.
Just silently one. So Brian Nielsen sent a donation. Thank you for that. And then Nikita Kaun, I think that's how you're saying it. I apologize if I'm ruining your name. Any thoughts on the old man who yells at Netflix? Are you referring to Steven Spielberg?
Oh,
if that's who you're referring to, I'll check the other chat. To see
I was honestly waiting for this question, like, because if you're watching this in the archives, this is recorded. I think Spielberg might still be the top trend on Twitter right now.
Yeah, and right, because he's very. I didn't read the article, but I know just what more or less what he's talking about.
Yeah,
because he's kind of been complaining about this for a while. Is this idea that like true cinema, could not be something like Netflix. Like it has to be experienced in a theater.
It's not really. He is very old school, and he always has been too. Because even back when video was becoming a big thing, he was against movies on video.
Right.
And as far as what he's saying about the Oscars go, I would understand it if they were just on Netflix, but they do meet the requirements for an Oscar nomination. Like, yeah, right. If it was just on Netflix, if the movie was just on Netflix and that's it, and it didn't have their limited theatrical run to qualify them for Oscars,
right?
Then I would agree. Like, okay, yeah, it should be up for an Emmy for TV movie.
Right, right.
Because Netflix series are up for Emmys. So,
yeah.
But given that, well, they are fitting the requirements for Oscar consideration, then...
Right.
Then,
what's the problem? You know, I mean, there's tons of movies that receive only very, very, very limited release.
Yeah.
But one of their releases is right in Hollywood during that period of time that it needs to qualify to be part of the Oscars, and that gets them in. I mean, same thing with like all the short films.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that something like Netflix, like when I was at the Oscar party with the front row movie reviews.
Yeah.
We talked about like why is it that some of these like documentaries and shorts that were on Netflix were the ones that were winning, and I was like, well, it's because everybody's seen them.
Yeah.
And I mean, does that make them any less merit of how good they are? No, they're still very well done, as are some of the others, but getting people to see it makes a big difference. And having an avenue like Netflix or these other streaming services like YouTube or something to get notice out there. I mean, you can have the most beautiful, wonderful masterpiece of a film, but if nobody sees it, I mean, you have to bring that into consideration because, and maybe he's forgotten this because he has all of the money.
Sure. Yeah.
But he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't make his decisions based on the idea of like, well, this movie's got to make money. He's got to make money.
Yeah.
He's like, well, no, it needs to be pure art and it needs to be whatever. It's like, well, that's fine, Steven, but you made all your money back in the 70s. And you've been the richest man ever since. So, like, there is something to be said about artistic integrity.
Yeah.
And, like, wanting to make something artistic and beautiful and a wonderful piece of cinema. I get that. But at the same time, people have to see it.
Yeah.
People have to see it. They have to know about it. They have to know where to get it. It has to be somewhere that's easily consumable. And, I mean, Netflix is an amazing avenue for that.
I don't think that he's talking about this with any kind of malicious purpose. I think that it's just. I think he's certainly very protective of a medium that he loves. Like, so while I disagree with him. I'm not one of these people on Twitter who's like, God, what a crybaby. It's like, oh, stop it. He's Steven Spielberg and you're on Twitter.
It's true. I mean, that's the thing is that, he's a, like, an immortal god of film.
Yeah.
So it's nothing that he says or does is going to in any way harm that.
I saw someone go like, oh, maybe he should focus on making good movies again. Like, okay, guy, his last movie was up for Best Picture. Like,
yeah, and Steven Spielberg doesn't need your approval, guy on Twitter. So,
again, like I said, I disagree. I think that Roma, it fit the requirements to be up for Best Picture, and it should, and it certainly earned a couple of Oscars that it got. Its cinematography, especially. Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
No, I figured we were going to get asked that question.
No, unashamedly love Steven Spielberg. You know,
yeah.
I love his movies. I mean, in film school, you know, it was almost like, you know, taboo to say you like Steven Spielberg, you know.
Oh, sure.
Which is funny because, you know, like, if you were in film school, it's like, who do you like? It's like, oh, I love, you know, Godard, and I love... It's like, bullshit. You know, you've watched it, and...
You're going home and watching E.T., fuck you.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, I grew up watching Spielberg. I wanted to make movies in major part thanks to watching Spielberg movies.
Yeah,
you know,
Steven Spielberg was maybe... I mean, I was born the same year Raiders came out, so Steven Spielberg was maybe the first director that I was cognizant of or aware of as a filmmaker. So he's a part of many people's childhoods.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So in that it's just funny that, you know, that everybody's like, well, I love this stuff on Netflix. Now that Steven Spielberg's like, well, let's, you know, how dare you, Spielberg? It's like, no, stop. Twitter rage.
Yeah.
You know, he's making his point. He doesn't want to get it where it cheapens the brand, and I can certainly appreciate that feeling. But the thing is that with the media expanding so much, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You know, I think. I mean, because you're gonna get great movies, but you're also gonna get, you know, a Medea funeral movie that looks like it was shot.
It is insane that I saw that on, like, not the IMAX screen, but the second largest screen in that movie theater, and Roma I'm watching on Netflix.
Right,
that's crazy.
You know, yeah, exactly. You know, right, it is. So, but that's not to say one has more value than the other because you got to see it on a bigger type of screen or a bigger type of environment. I mean, now obviously, we always loved the idea of getting to see a movie in the movie theater, but so much of the world is now accepting of watching it on a phone. I mean, there's been movies I've watched on my phone because I'm on a plane.
I'm never gonna do that.
Well, I'm on a plane, you know.
Oh well, in that situation, sure.
You know, I'm gonna, like, if I'm at home or something like that, I'm gonna watch it on my TV.
Yeah.
Or like I've got a projector now set up, so I can watch it on like 120 inches. Of a projected wall. So I mean, of course, I'm gonna prefer that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of media I can consume and enjoy on my phone because I can. And I'm not going to sit and be like, well, I now don't enjoy this because it's not a full cinematic, you know, escape. It's like, no, I'm still going to enjoy it.
Sometimes it does. There are situations where sometimes it does hurt a little bit. In cases like Roma, which is a movie that I did enjoy it. I liked it a lot, but the cinematography in it is so jaw-dropping and outstanding that I did feel that something was lost when I was just watching it on TV. It would be like, what's the way to put it? So much of that movie's personality is its cinematography. Like, marveling at every single detail that goes into every shot of that film. That it was honestly a bummer that I wasn't able to really see it on like an IMAX or a big screen. But, you know, that's only one of maybe a couple examples I can think of last year where I'm like, that does feel like it did kind of hurt it for me a little bit. But not to the point to where I'm like, oh, this movie sucks.
Right.
But if I had seen it on the big screen, I don't know if it would have made like my top 10 necessarily.
I mean, I guess that's the question. Is that that is the question? Is that, do you feel that movie was hurt in your overall like general liking of movies because you weren't able to see it on?
I don't feel no, in the sense that it wasn't the difference between recommending it and not recommending it, because I still recommended it. But since I'm watching it at home and really not able to take in a lot of the scope of it as opposed to seeing it on the big screen, there was that, and also the fact that narratively speaking, not a great deal happens for a bit in that movie, and because of that, because I was watching it at home with a lot of distractions, because I'm ADD as shit, so with a lot of distractions at home with, you know, everything surrounding the TV and everything, my mind was wandering a little bit, whereas that might not have been the case if I was watching it in a theater.
So then, if we were to say that it's better to watch it in the theater, that then limits its scope in who can see it, because it means that a lot less people have time to go to the movies. I mean, we're very fortunate in that our job is to go see movies, so we see a lot of movies. But just getting the chance to go see, to get to the find the show times, pay the money to go to the movie theater, and then take the time in the evening to go to a film to fully appreciate that. But the argument then to continue to keep something like a Netflix around is that it makes it so you don't have to put that much planning in it to go see the movie.
Sure.
So does the movie, and I guess this is the ultimate debate, and this is ultimately a part of the Spielberg debate as well. Is do you throw out so many people who their only option is to watch it at home on Netflix to preserve the pristineness of the film?
Well, the thing is, too, is that, while I'm certainly talking about that in the case with Roma, it's not like it wasn't in any theaters. It was.
Sure.
It's just not around Springfield.
Right, it had to be doing
so there are people who did certainly get to see it that way.
Right.
And, I mean, movie theaters aren't going anywhere. It's still $1 billion industry. There's still $1 billion movies. But yeah, I mean, it is true that thanks to Netflix, there are some movies that
I think also just a lot of people, and I don't know if it's specifically Spielberg, but a lot of people in the industry are pissed off at Netflix because it started out as a way to get a DVD in the mail.
I know, right?
And now it's the 900-pound gorilla in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to keep up with Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix is spending $900 billion. They're spending more than Warner Brothers on their production slate. Or almost more than Disney. You know, they're spending so much money. Everybody wants to be a part of Netflix, to the point that, from those who I know who are pitching things to Netflix, people are pitching things to Netflix with major stars involved. Not just hey, me and my buddy made a movie, we want to be on Netflix. No, it's I have A-list celebrities, signed on, packaged with this TV show.
Yeah.
Will you show it Netflix? And Netflix is nope.
Oh yeah, they now have more standards than they didn't before. Because it used to be, and to a degree in some situations it probably still is, but it was primarily known as a dumping ground for a while because they wanted to just. The studio that made Holmes and Watson wanted to dump Holmes and Watson on Netflix, but Netflix said no.
Right, because they thought, Netflix will take it.
Yeah.
Netflix is now we don't have to take it.
We don't have to take that shit. You made that movie. You put it out in fucking theaters.
That's right. You took that dump on the floor. You're gonna It is, yeah. I mean, yeah. It was this great place of this, and they could experiment, and they could be we can make something for the hell of it and just see if it sticks. And if it doesn't, who cares? We got all our subscribers, and we just don't make it part of the algorithm, so nobody sees it.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting model, but now they're we're making movies that are winning Oscars, and we're doing we're
after being snubbed quite a bit too.
Sure,
there was
sure.
Idris Elba being snubbed for Beast of No Nation, and that movie itself kind of being a similar situation.
Right.
Where is that asshole? I'm looking for the thing the little pink guy to open the cannon. Is he down at the bottom? Oops.
Oh, we'll find him. No. So yeah, hopefully that kind of gives our thoughts on the old man yelling at Netflix. So Brian Nielsen, we are grateful for all the donations.
Yeah.
But here he says, any advice on writing a montage in a screenplay, especially with the song lyrics? Also, you're profiting off of my dumbassery today. He means that as in there's been a couple of donations without questions. So obviously he was trying to, I'm assuming you were trying to send the question, but then just the donation went through. So anyway, we will make the answer worth your what you've paid here. So I promise you. So all All right. So anyway, so the question was any advice on writing a montage in a screenplay, especially with there's like song lyrics. Yeah. So you're kind of doing, I'm assuming, like a musical montage type of thing is what you're trying to do. Well, that's kind of a tough one. That's I suppose a lot of it comes down to if you're. Is this a spec script? Is like this a script you're sending out, like trying to get somebody to fund your project, or is it more so something you're going to be shooting yourself? And the reason I say that, I mean, obviously the screenwriting degree in me says you need to write it properly, the first time, no matter what. Yeah. But the independent filmmaker in me knows that like if you're going to be shooting this yourself, you need to be able to. It needs to be something that you can understand and translate while you're planning to shoot. Which does go back to when you're actually writing the screenplay, like even if it is on like a spec script. I mean, really, you need to try to be clear with your labels, and you need to be clear with your descriptions as you're writing it. Now, I'm sure I could pull up some examples of similar type of things, and I think that's probably what you're going to want to look for as well. Is try to pull up some musicals, some movie musicals, and see if you can find their scripts online. Like I'm a member of some tracking boards with some when I was an assistant in Hollywood. Like I got on board these tracking boards, and you could get screenplays from agencies or from production companies. That you could actually get like the final shooting script for movies. And the best advice I can get, since I really haven't written any musicals, my best advice would be to look to get your hands on those screenplays for movie musicals, or even movies that have musical numbers in them. Because usually, like in a comedy that just suddenly has a musical number, like it'd usually be a big funny montage type of thing. So it's going to have that same sort of feel that you're probably looking for, and just look at how they wrote it. Yeah. Because the thing is that you got to remember that with a screenplay. A good screenplay is just the blueprint. It's the blueprint of the movie. It's not the finished movie. Yeah. So what's important is you're able to tell the story and tell the jokes and tell some of the set pieces if they're important to what's happening in the story. A lot of what's going to happen in the final musical number is going to be production design. It's going to be direction. It's going to be the actual music itself. Like if you're writing the screenplay to a popular song or something that's already pretty well known, then you kind of know what the music is already in your head. But if you're kind of writing original lyrics that are eventually later going to be written into a song, you're the only one who might know how the song goes. So it's more about kind of telling the rhyme and telling the story and kind of visually telling just some of the set pieces. I will say that on some of the movies that I've read, because I've read a ton of screenplays. I worked as a script reader for a long time, and I've read a ton of screenplays and been paid to give my opinion on whether or not the script is viable. So I've been professionally looking at scripts, and something I've seen in a lot of movies that are like spec and they don't necessarily have the music written for them. For example, one of them, I won't say the name of the movie because I think it's still in development, but it was for an animated kids movie. And the way it worked was, it's just like so many other, I mean, it wasn't Disney, but it could totally be a Disney movie. Yeah. It's kind of a Romeo and Juliet kind of feel to the movie, but meant for a young audience and meant for, animated. And what they did, because, and again, unless you're also a songwriter, they might be able to hire a better songwriter. You know what I mean? Writing a screenplay and writing a song are two very different things. So if you have the song already written, that's one thing. But if you're thinking I want to write this screenplay and eventually I'm going to put together, a totally bitchin' song. A lot of times what I've seen in these animated movies is it will say, the characters are doing this, this one talks, and then boom, and then it says just a slug line that says, begin the I can do things better than you do song. Yeah. And then it just skips to after the song. Because again, especially in an animated sequence, with the song. I mean, the Disney movies. I mean, you're probably going to get Alan Menken to come in and do this song, right? If it's a Disney movie, and no one's going to do it better than him. So don't even try. Right. so instead of it being, let's spend some time coming up with the best damn song. It's like, well, no, Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to write your song. So don't fucking try, because he's going to do it better.
Yeah.
I don't care how
smart you
look
at the chat. Where the fuck is the fucking canon guy in this? I usually skip this level.
Let's see here.
Oh
yeah, somebody's asking if you're just dicking around at the moment. No, he's looking for the canon guy.
No, I'm looking for the pink cannon bastard. I usually skip this world, so I'm not 100% familiar with a lot of it.
Brad, do you mind? I'm trying to teach screenwriting.
Yeah. I gotta open the fucking cannon so I can get into the town that has the 8 red coins in it. I swear I've combed every inch of this fucking part of it.
So anyway, to finalize my point, I will wait to see if anybody gives you advice on this. I'll let you know when I see it. But as far as my advice for you writing your sequence the way you want to, I'd say try to look up any script you can that's going to have something similar.
Yeah.
And see how they did it. Mm-hmm. And I say that simply because, having not written anything, here we go. He's right at the top when you...
That's what I thought, but I was there, and he wasn't there.
When you reach the cannon. He's right at the top when you reach the cannon. Kendall Jock, thank you. We'll see. Anyway. So yeah, any other, advice on screenwriting or something, I'm happy to... Again, that's what my degree is.
What the fuck? He wasn't there before, I swear to God. Unless I'm really that tired and just didn't see him standing there.
Oh, God, sorry. All right, okay. So...
God, I was like, I swear he wasn't... I stood at the top and was looking all around. Unless I'm insane and just missed this gumball standing there. Jesus. That was so annoying. I'm like, man, maybe this will take like 3.5 hours. Okay, now I can focus on this question a little bit.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on it?
So, writing montages, okay. Now, when it's come to a movie that I've personally, when it's come to one of the movies that I've directed myself, it's a mixture of I already know how the montage is going to go in my head, because if I'm writing and directing something, I'm also editing it too. So the script is maybe not as detailed as it would be if, say, you were directing it and I was writing it,
Right, yeah,
So I already kind of know what's in my head, how this is going to look. Also, there could be a little bit of improvisation on it too. Like, there was a montage in Game Boys where Jake was going around looking for the Custer's Revenge game, and I kind of knew what was going to be going on in that, but there was some parts of it that were a little bit improvised, like him getting thrown out of stores and things like that. Other than that, I mean, there was originally a montage in the first Snob movie, but it was cut. I mean, I don't know if it wasn't even filmed, though. Like, it was in the script, an early draft of the script, but that was one of those things, like we didn't even film that, because it was like, yeah, this movie's already like 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Right. So,
have we... Oh, well, hell, there was a montage in Jesus, Bro.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, I guess, because I was focusing a lot on the musical aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Just for just a general montage, what like the easiest thing to do on just a general montage is, instead of writing new slug lines for every single image that you're seeing, you can you can do one general slug line that says begin montage.
Yeah.
And then you just each paragraph is a new description. And what's good about that, for because again, the script is the blueprint, so you need to be able to translate that to your first AD and your other people who are planning out the movie.
What did it look like in Jesus, Bro?
In Jesus, Bro, because I did the rewrite on that script.
Did you write the montage, or did
I don't remember who wrote it.
I think it might have been you.
It might have been me, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember writing then Dave is in the church and is reading the Bible, and then Dave drops the Bible in the bathtub.
Right.
That might have been in your draft.
That might have been me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But probably the way I did it was just interior Dave's bedroom or whatever his name was, bedroom.
Yeah.
Day, he talks back and forth to Farad's character, and he says, I need to read the Bible. And then probably in the script, it just said, begin montage. And then after that, it was description after description after description after description.
In my draft, in my draft, it was probably not that specific. It might have just said, like, a montage of Rickhead becoming a believer, I guess. Maybe. I can't remember.
And see, honestly, that's really all you really need. Like, honestly, that's all you really need. And, like, the more specific jokes, which were, him sitting in a church, and then, because, the rule of threes or whatever it was that we tried to use for the joke, he's in the church, he's in the, we had, like, one where he was on a playground, but that joke didn't work.
Oh, yeah.
We had a few jokes that we tried to use in there. And we just kind of tried them out and saw which ones stick. But I'm pretty sure that in the screenplay, it either just said begin montage, and then montage of him becoming a believer, and then we figured it out later. Because again, like by saying in the script, it's a montage of him becoming a believer.
Yeah,
you've translated what you need to translate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, each individual specific hilarious joke, you can come up with later.
Yeah.
But at least there, and again, like, and I say this for if you're trying to sell your script on spec, like if you're sending this to a script reader like me, like if I'm a script reader and I got your script and all you said on there was begin montage of him becoming a believer, that's enough for me to understand.
Yeah.
I don't need to get super specific.
Yeah.
And the other like danger of that could be is that if you're trying to get too specific and I don't know what you're talking about, I'm not gonna like the script.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I don't understand what the hell's going on here. I'm not gonna recommend the script anymore.
Yeah.
So it's the duplicitous edge you gotta walk to be like, I want to be specific enough that I'm translating my ideas, but you gotta remember that the person who's reading your script doesn't see the story the way you do.
Yeah.
They've got a piece of paper and words on it, and that's it. They don't see what's in your head. You in your head have a perfectly fully thought out realized movie.
Yeah.
But I don't as a script reader or any script reader who picks it up or any executive who picks it up. They don't. They just have a piece of paper and they have so close. So anyway, hopefully that's worth all that you gave us because you gave us quite a bit there, and so hopefully that is worth the contribution.
Thank you so much.
We thank you. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact us or anything. I mean, or me or Brad or whatever. I can sit and yammer on about screenwriting all day. So.
Oh yeah, like I said, when it's like God damn it, something like that might have like a montage in it, like when I did Disco. Like I said, I know what song is gonna be playing. I have it in my head. I have it in my head how the scene's gonna look, and I'm tweaking it quite a bit with certain things to happen in a certain music cue. Or, just tweaking some shots so it'll fit this cue that I want it to fit. So a lot of it is it's definitely made in editing as well. Son of a bitch!
Well, while you work your climb back up, we, let's see here. Sondre Nitzen, I think is what it is. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thank you for the contribution. But it said, ever consider reading The Snowman?
Oh, the book?
And do a comparison video. Would be nice to see your take on the story as it should be.
Yeah.
And then pronounce Hole correct.
Oh, yeah, because in the movie, his name was Harry Hole. Just like, man, that boy had problems.
Speaking of problems.
Yeah. Got it right the first fucking time. Jesus. I just need one more fucking coin. No, I wouldn't do that. I've already seen the movie. What do I need to read the book for?
Exactly.
No, I wouldn't, because because of how my attention is, it's actually kind of hard for me to read books. It's hard for me to stay focused enough to read a book, which is why I've read a lot of books, but not really since I was younger. And it would take me too long to get through a book, and it wouldn't be worth doing any kind of comparison video on or anything like that. Like I can sit down and read a book a lot easier than I can listening to a book on tape. That I cannot do at all. It's impossible for me to do that. Thank God Christ. Yeah, it's next to impossible for me to listen to a book on tape. Oops. Of course that happened. I need to find a coin. You know what? What was I saying? Oh, yeah, anyway, about my attention being hard. Yeah, I've talked about it before. I'm extremely ADD, so it's yeah, kind of hard for me to do some things, and sitting down and read a book is one of those things.
All right, so next question. From Pizza Cat, not so much a question as it is a comment. Thank you for the contribution.
Thank you.
Says, hey, Brad, you just keep being you, man. So...
I'll try. Luckily, you're telling me that in my late 30s and not my 20s.
Right.
Then that would be terrible advice.
Keep being the current version of you.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. So... is it Evil Ed, maybe 76? Is that what it is? I don't know, but thank you for the contribution.
Evil Ed from Fright Night is writing to me? Sweet.
Awesome. Says, hey, Brad and Ryan, keep up the great work. Just wanted to say, Ryan, you did great, and Hooker with a Heart of Gold.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was a fun one.
You were really fucking good in that movie.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, you know, getting to play, a more dramatic character is pretty awesome. I always you know, doing comedy is great. It's so much fun doing comedy, but I think that, like, that's the real meat and potatoes of getting to be an actor and do a performance, is getting to do a real dramatic actor.
You were so good in that movie that your character was in the whole thing. Because originally, in the notes, before we started doing the first part, originally your character died at the end of, like, the second part.
Oh, yeah?
And then you were so good that I'm like, I can't kill him off. So, yeah, we really fleshed him out. And kept him around for the whole movie.
That was
the character
fun.
of Don. Yeah,
Don. That's right. Yeah. And that was a heck of a lot of fun. Yeah, because it was supposed to be just like, hey, just come by, we'll do a couple days.
Yeah.
And then it was for the whole thing. We got to do lots of fun stuff with that.
That's of the movies that I've directed, the ones that I directed. That one's still my favorite. I do really love that movie. Like, it's the one that I am. Oops. More prone to go back and watch if need be.
Mm-hmm.
That and I like Disco a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Midnight Heat. But if there's one that I'm gonna watch, it's typically Hooker with a Heart of Gold. Yeah.
Sorry, focus must be paid. There we go.
Christ. I hate this world. This is why I'm getting it out of the way first. I'm like, I hate wet, dry world. It's one of those worlds where I'm like, I know where everything is, but it's
just getting,
yeah, but it still makes it a pain in the ass. Like earlier, I was like, I swear to God that the cannon guy is up there. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah, exactly. But
it's a world that just still fuck with me.
So Connor Johnson pointed out that today is Dr. Seuss's 115th birthday.
I wonder what he's doing.
Oh, the places you'll go in the ground.
That's kind of funny because I have a Dr. Seuss reference in the Snob It video I edited earlier today.
Well, there you go. See, you're very appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an episode on Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Why wouldn't there be a Dr. Seuss reference?
Yeah, my daughter at school, it was Dr. Seuss week.
Yeah.
Usually on the week of his birthday, it's Dr. Seuss week. So yeah, I was aware of this because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, really interesting. I went to an exhibit about him that showed a lot of his earlier artwork, and he was super active during the war, World War II.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where he got a lot of his start, was by doing war cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, it's interesting because it's so distinctly his style, but as war propaganda.
Nice.
And it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's a pretty cool exhibit. I think I saw it at like the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. I think that's where I saw it. It's pretty cool. If you ever get a chance to see that or see any of his other work, it's cool. I mean, he's a fascinating guy. So.
I think I fucked this up. If I did, it's not like it'll take me 10 minutes to do it again.
Okay, so while you're focusing on this, I have a question for me from Pete. Yeah, I guess that's Peter. It's a lot of A's. Thank you for the contribution. It says, Ryan, what's your thoughts on improv versus following the script, and how would results how that would result for like the house or life of the party? I know you and I have talked about this before, but it's okay. So going back to kind of what I was talking about before, is that the script is the blueprint, and again, I use the analogy of building a house. When you're building a house, you need a solid blueprint. I mean, you can grab somebody and you can grab a bunch of wood and grab a bunch of other stuff and be like, let's get a bunch of wood, let's get a bunch of sinks, and let's get some pipes and things, and we'll build a house, right? How hard can it be? Well, yeah, I mean, you can just start nailing boards together, and eventually you might get to a house, but it helps to have a blueprint, a plan. This is step 1, step 2, step 3. This is how you plan how this house is going to look, and that's a script. Yeah. So having a good script to give you that blueprint is important. I mean, it's really important. And I could go really deep into this analogy and start talking about how you want to tell your different vendors, like your plumber or your drywallers or your painters, they need to know what your ideas are, and if it's on the blueprint, they can translate that easy without having to come to you and say, what color do you want this, or what do you want this to be? Well, no, it's on the blueprint. In the exact same way, your art department people, your editor, everybody knows what you're thinking because it's pretty well planned out in the script. Now, getting to the idea of improv, okay, so this comes down to like directing style and how you work with your actors. And there are directors who are the script is gold. The script is gospel. It is, the actor is a prop that bleeds. So
that was Hitchcock's old quote, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a Hitchcock quote. Is you plop an actor in front of the camera, you position their head to look the way that you want it to look, and they recite the lines as you have written them, and as you direct them to emote and dictate them. Your motivation is this. You say it like this. You look this direction. It's fine if you have a very strong vision of how it must go. Yeah. Like this, and I mean, Hitchcock was a guy who was kind of like that. He had an extremely strong vision of how he wanted things to go. Yeah. But I tend to, in my own personal experience as a director and even as a writer, is that I have an objective that the scene must accomplish. Yeah. There is a like every scene, and this goes to screenwriting as well. Every scene has a beginning, middle. Every scene has a beginning, middle, and an end. Every scene in itself must be its own movie. It must be its own thing. Otherwise, the scene has no purpose. Every scene must have a purpose, and that purpose must have a specific objective that it has to do. It can be very simple. It can be very complex, but there must be a point to the scene. Now, what that gets into with improv is that if you're going to let your actors improvise, they've got to get to that end goal. And you need to be clear with them as a director that, okay, this is how it starts, this is what I need you to talk about, and it needs to get to oh boy.
That's funny.
It needs to get. You've got to get to that certain point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the scene has no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my personal experience working with actors, and again, a lot of the actors I work with have been with Brad or these other YouTube personalities, like Doug and the other guys for Channel Awesome. Yeah. And what's good about them as actors is that a lot of what they do with their channels is improv anyway.
Yeah.
Or they're coming up with the jokes themselves.
Yeah.
They're already really funny and good writers and performers as it is. Mm-hmm. So I have a pretty clear vision of what I want to do for each scene. And with Jesus Bro, I did a lot of the writing on that film. So like I knew where I was coming from when I wrote a lot of the scenes. But then even within another Cinema Snob movie, I knew very clearly where those characters wanted to be, and because I'm so familiar with the source product as it is, like I knew where we wanted to be with a lot of this stuff, but I knew a lot of the capabilities of these actors, and because of that, I wanted to give them license to come up with ideas on their own.
Yeah.
And what you have to do, I think, as a director, is you need to give them those options because, saying that they're props that bleed and they must say that's fine, I guess. Like if you just want like a model, just a beautiful model to stand there.
It helps them feel out their characters a lot more. It helps them become it's
absolutely. Well, perfect example is. With another Cinema Snob movie, Rob is playing the character that was originally played by Jake.
Rob Walker.
Rob Walker's playing that character, and now that character, when he was written for Jake, was a very different character.
Yes. From
the character that is now being played in another Cinema Snob movie.
Yeah.
And Rob and I talked a little bit when it came to actually putting together that character, but. What I let him do and what I encouraged him to do, really, and I encouraged everybody to do, was I encouraged him to take some liberties with the lines, to come up with certain things. Like he'd ad-lib and throw things in just on the spot. And most of the time they work really well. Sometimes they didn't always work.
Yeah, it's like everything. Like I mean, even on even when it's one of the smaller projects that I've done, like a disco or a movie like that, same thing. An ad-lib will work and be a lot better than what's on the page. And then other times, like, what's on the page is better, or just maybe works better in context of everything else that's going on.
And this comes down to being a director and having a vision, a plan, a vision for what you want, is when they come to you with an idea or they try something and it doesn't work, you just know it doesn't work. You need to be able to, as a director, say to them, go, listen, that's really funny, I see where you're coming with that, but for right now, I don't think that works.
Yeah.
And it's a respect thing. Yeah. You respect their opinion, and then what comes the opposite end is that they respect you as a director. Yeah. They trust you to know that you're not going to make them look foolish. Yeah. Like I know you feel that way, and I know that Rob has trusted me. Because, again, my objective is to make a really funny movie. And I know that's his objective, too. Yeah. And so, for that reason, like, if he can't... And I can't come up with a specific example, because, honestly, a lot of his stuff was really good.
No, it was.
So, like, I can't come up with a specific example of something I disagreed with. But, like, if it's something I disagreed with, it'd usually just be like, for this particular scene, I really need this to happen. Yeah. And because I need this to happen, that doesn't work, because we got to say here. Or I think maybe one of the examples that did happen... I'll let you get, but I'll finish this. Was that he said an ad lib, but that ad lib was a line that was going to actually come later.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, is that that's funny. I like where your head's at. Yeah. Because that is coming later. So we can't say it here now because he's not going to know that until later. Yeah. And again, that's knowing your script, that's knowing your actors, and that's trusting. It's trusting them. And then them trusting you. So to get to your comment on what are the results of things like the house or life of the party.
Jesus, okay, that's when we've talked about this a lot. Like that's something completely different than what like you and I are talking about, and whenever ad-libbing is done well in a movie. Right. In cases like the house or life of the party, it's a situation where I'm like, I have no idea what those original scripts looked like, but they didn't look like that. No. Like, all it was just whoever made the movie thought to themselves, well, Will Ferrell's a funny guy. Clearly, we just put him in front of the camera, and it'll be instant gold.
Right.
Like, he'll be able to carry this on his own. Because I think they get inspiration from a lot of times when that has worked, like Caddyshack or Beverly Hills Cop, where there was a lot of improvising done in the sequences, but it was under better direction. And it just came together better. They played off of each other better in those. Or in the case of Axel Foley, that just became Axel Foley.
Yeah.
The House and Life of the Party, no. It is just, we're putting them in front of the camera because they're funny, and so clearly nothing can go wrong here.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's a failure of the studios. It's a failure of not giving enough power to the directors.
Yeah.
Because the example I use is just because, I mean, I can't speak to the experience of these directors, but I do, through the people that I used to work with, I knew, not personally, but I knew the stories of a guy named Marco Schnabel.
Is that an actor?
He's a director. And
writer. Okay.
He wrote the Librarian movie, one of the Librarian movies.
Okay.
He was also like the first assistant director on most of the Austin Powers movies.
Oh, wow.
So he was friends with Mike Myers.
Yeah.
And he directed a few things here and there. I think he actually directed maybe the first Librarian movie. Like, that's how I know him, because I work for Electric Entertainment. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know of him in the stories.
Yeah.
But the story goes is that he was eventually tapped to direct The Love Guru.
Oh, okay.
And starring Mike Myers.
Yeah.
And this is where I am getting to this idea of this improvisation and not giving enough power to the directors or not supporting the directors in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what he said happened there was that, he was given the director's chair, and then Mike Myers came in and said, "I'm not listening to you, I'm going to do whatever I want."
Yeah.
And it's the thing about, Mike Myers is a funny guy.
No, he is.
I mean, Austin Powers wouldn't have been so successful if it wasn't for him being such a funny guy.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Will Ferrell is a funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, people are going to go crazy about Will Ferrell because he's a polarizing figure. But, I mean, he would not have been able to do all he did on Saturday Night Live if he was not such a very funny guy. Mm-hmm. Like, my wife watches Elf every year.
Yeah, my wife's a big fan.
So, like, and the thing is there's stuff in Elf that is objectively funny. It goes all good.
The stuff that I found, I'm not as partial to Elf as a lot of other people, but I'm not a gigantic Will Ferrell guy. Like, the parts in Elf I laugh at, or James Caan being incredibly frustrated by him.
Right. But it's this idea of, I mean, because, in Elf, the director's Jon Favreau.
Well, that's right, yeah.
So he's a phenomenal director.
Yeah.
He's a very strong director.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he can take someone like a Will Ferrell and he can guide him.
Yeah.
He can focus that energy. And it's the same thing with, like, Mike Myers in The Love Guru. Marco Schnabel's he's no no wimp.
Mm-hmm.
But when the studio's like, Mike Myers has carte blanche, he can do whatever the hell he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And this, rather, not untested, but like he doesn't have the juice, the power to be like, I'm going to walk off this movie because this guy's not listening to anything I want. Yeah, he's a friend that I know him, but he's not listening to me. He's doing nothing that I want.
True that Mike Myers didn't want to do Cat in the Hat, but he was contractually obligated to do it. So as like revenge or protest or whatever, he intentionally made his performance bad in the film.
I had heard those rumors.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming that's probably the case when you see the movie.
It might be.
But yeah, I mean, it goes down to so much in Hollywood, and when people get a lot of power.
Yeah.
Talented people get a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they don't have the guardrails. They don't have the people pulling them in and focusing their energy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can make similar arguments for people like George Lucas. When he made the first Star Wars, he had a ton of guardrails.
Yeah.
He had a lot of people saying, no, you have to focus your energy here. And, of course, he makes Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right? And then when he's completely and totally unchained and he can do whatever he wants, he makes the prequels.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, not to get into the whole merit, talking the merits of the prequels or whatever, but like those movies were somebody with no restrictions.
Certainly.
An extremely talented person, obviously, and that goes without argument, but with no guardrails, with absolutely no restrictions, you make something like the prequels.
If you want to see, if you want to see a really, really damn good documentary on kind of what you're talking about, watch Final Cut, the documentary that's about Heaven's Gate, where Michael Cimino, who's the director I love and totally respect. I even really like Heaven's Gate a lot. But that was, they kind of gave him, not quite literally, but in so many words, they almost gave him a blank check for his next movie and gave him a lot of, he got away with a lot of stuff on that movie that another director probably wouldn't have had. Oh man. Yeah, fuck you. Had he not just won an Oscar for The Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
So United Artists wanted their next big epic. Like, they wanted their Gone with the Wind, and they thought, well, Michael Cimino's the guy to do that. He had this movie about the Johnson County War to make, and just watch the documentary, because it's... Ooh, man, that shoot sounded rough.
Yeah.
Like rebuilding whole buildings because they were like an inch off to his liking. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but things like that. Like, okay, Isabelle Huppert is in the movie, who's a brilliant actress, and she's good in that movie too. And he wanted her for the part of this, like, madam in Wyoming. That was her first English-speaking role. She's a French actress, and he was adamant about her being in the movie. Cimino was. And the producers of the movie were like, I don't know, why would this French woman be around this part in Wyoming at this time in the United States? And he's like, no, I want her. And they said, okay, we'll work out a deal with you. We'll go to France and she'll read for us, and if we like her, then okay, great. If not, you're gonna have to find somebody else. And he agreed to that, but they went there, and her English wasn't great at the time, and they had trouble understanding her, so they said, look, you're gonna have to find someone else. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. There might be a lot more to it than that, but that might be just kind of the short version. But yeah, so I mean, that's someone getting away with a lot.
right. And I mean, it happens annoyingly a lot in Hollywood, where you do have somebody just has too much power. I mean, because there is so much power. There's so much power and ego and things that just go everywhere that it's.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to have somewhat. You're automatically going to have somewhat of an ego if you're writing, directing, and editing your own thing. We all do.
You have to. If you have no ego, you don't work in this world.
Yeah. you just have to know when to keep yourself in check or to just listen.
And it's not even a personal thing. It's not even I, as a director, need to know when I need to check myself. It's surrounding yourself with people who will check you.
No, yeah, totally.
Like, that's what it is you need honest people who are not kiss-ass, who are going to be like, hey, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like, listen, brother, I love you, but like that's not a good idea. You need that. You have to have that. If you don't have that, you start thinking, if you're just surrounded by a bunch of ass-kissing yes men and women who are like, oh, everything you do is brilliant, we love your idea. You're like, well, what do you think about this? Like, oh, it's brilliant, we love it, it's great. It's like, okay, then let's do it.
If you don't have that, you're probably still a director in your 20s. Because I remember how I was in my 20s. Or you're either a director in your 20s, or you're an older director and everything, and you've made Star Wars. Like, you know what I mean?
If you're one of those.
Or you have a lot of clout.
Right. Some type of clown. Okay, so next one. Hey, Brad, ever consider a snob episode on the movie Orgasmo? That's the Trey Parker.
I love Orgasmo. I actually just showed that to Laura not too long ago because Laura was raised Mormon.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I showed her Orgasmo and she loved it.
Yeah. That is
Orgasmo's a very, very funny movie. No, I wouldn't do a snob episode on it. One, it's kind of hard to do on YouTube anyway with a name like Orgasmo. So yeah, I wouldn't do that as a snob episode, but it's a very funny movie. I mean, Trey Parker to me was always very underrated as a comedy actor, as a live action comedy actor. Mm-hmm. I thought he was very good in Orgasmo and Cannibal the Musical, mm-hmm. and I like Basketball. I'm sorry, I enjoy that movie. I think it's really funny.
Yeah.
He was always very underrated to me as a leading man. I wish he did more. I wish he did more stuff like that because I like going back and watching Orgasmo.
Cool. All right, so Sandre, that's it again. Since I love the review of The Snowman, can you recommend any other movies like it? You are definitely pronouncing the name wrong. Just like
Harry Hole.
I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'm so sorry.
Oh. My name is not Harry Hole.
I'm sorry.
Like bad cop thrillers, like The Snowman. Whew. Shit. Off the top of my head, like The Snowman's pretty uniquely bad. I don't know. I've seen some cop thrillers that aren't very good, but The Snowman is in a world of its own as far as incompetence goes, because in the movie it's a flawed story anyway, but also they couldn't shoot 10 or 15% of the script. So you're watching an unfinished movie, and you feel it through the movie. You can tell there is shit just missing. Chloe Sevigny shows up as her own twin sister, and it's just that has nothing to do with anything, and she's not seen in the movie anymore after that. That shit like that will just happen in that film. That's a bad movie where I'm like, I recommend this. Dude, you have got to. Okay, here's what. If you enjoyed watching how fucking crazy The Snowman was, you got to see Serenity.
Okay, yeah.
You really need to see Serenity. Oh man, I want to talk about that movie so hard right now, but I don't want to spoil it. Do not let anybody spoil that movie for you. There's a twist halfway through the movie, and you'll see it coming. Mm-hmm. I'll say that about it. Because Doug and I went to go see it, and we both saw where it was going, but that didn't make it less crazy. I think the way I put it was okay, if you're falling face first into a ball pit that's just made up of clown heads and baby teeth, you'll see it coming. That doesn't make it less crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
I gotta get in that hole up there. Speaking of holes.
Okay. So, Lily Musai, thank you for the contribution there. No question. Maybe, sorry if it didn't go through, but okay. So then, Stein Vider Anderson. I think I'm saying that correct. Brad, what are your favorite Friends episodes?
Let's see. The one with the embryos, which is the one that's a fan favorite. That one pops up on a bunch of lists. That's the one where they have the quiz versus who knows each other the best, where it's Monica and Rachel versus Chandler and Joey. It's the one where Monica and Rachel lose their apartment at the end. That one, the one where everybody finds out, which is where they all know except for Ross that Chandler and Monica are sleeping together, and they're trying to like psych each other out. Like Phoebe's pretending to come on to Chandler, and so he has to pretend like he's interested in her because they both know that. They both know that they know. Just an ongoing joke in the episode, but they don't want to be the one to back down. So it's almost like this game of like sex chicken between the two of them. It's a very, very funny episode. That one's one of my favorites. Other than that, I do like the one a lot where Joey loans Monica money, and she doesn't want Chandler to find out, so Joey tells Chandler that Monica was paying for a boob job. I could go on about Friends for hours.
Yeah.
I probably have before. Yeah, that's frequently on a lot in the background for me.
Yeah.
Just Friends, Frasier, Cheers. It's easy with Friends because it's on TBS quite a bit.
Yeah.
And Nick at Night. Frasier, they show blocks of it on like Cozy TV at night. So yeah, and Laura's a huge Frasier fan, a huge Friends fan too. So we'll have those on quite a bit. I'm gonna do something wrong here. I'm gonna fall off that fucking thing. Okay, I can go around, I think.
All right. So your Connor Johnson said, "Did you know that Wallace and Gromit franchise is turning 30 this year?"
Wow, really?
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Crazy. You know what made me feel old the other day?
What's that?
Many things. But this in particular. Do you ever see Last American Virgin?
Yes. Yeah.
I love that fucking movie, man. I was telling Laura about it the other day. I'm like, I need to show you this movie because this movie gets real. Like, man, if you people out there haven't seen Last American Virgin,
pretty sure you showed it to me. Yeah,
I think I did because it's a movie that takes a hard turn halfway through it. It starts out like Porky's and ends up like something like a teen drama. It's crazy. So, anyway, I was looking up some of the actors from the movie because I'm like, I hadn't seen Lawrence Monason in anything in a while. What's he up to? So it was a situation like that where I was looking him up. Like I IMDb'd him and Steve Anton too, who was the jerky guy in the movie. And Steve Anton like has written and directed some stuff since then. Like he's kind of worked behind the camera. He wrote and directed Burlesque, that Cher movie. Anyway, Steve Anton like just turned 60.
Wow.
And I'm like, shit, one of the guys from Last American Virgin is 60. Yeah. Damn, man. Yeah. I mean, he looked good for his age.
Yeah. No, it is hard to be like yeah. You see like, child actors from iconic child movies from when we were kids.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, they're like our age.
Yeah, I know, right?
Shit. Or like on some of the kids shows I watch, like some of the kids actors, well, because the Disney Channel is on often in our house for Caroline, she really likes some of the shows. Well, like there's some of the child actors are now like the parents on some of the shows. I mean, obviously like Girl Meets World was one of those type of shows, but yeah, it's like they're now parents.
Yeah.
Like, they're not old. I was like, wait, I'm a dad. Yeah, crap.
Yeah.
I am that old. Oh man.
I feel like I'm going to fall if I make that jump. I have to study this intensely.
Right, it takes deep, careful concentration.
Yeah.
Chris McDonald says, "Hey guys, keep up the good work from the mountains of Wicklow in Ireland."
Nice.
And Brad, have you ever considered doing international cons?
I don't have a passport, so it's kind of hard.
True.
That's honestly why I haven't been able to do some, because I've been invited to Con Bravo before, but I haven't been able to do it because I don't have a passport. Yeah, that should maybe be something that I.
It'd be fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun to do some international cons.
It would. I don't like flying. I got
That's true.
I got a fear of flying.
So yeah, it's like a 7-hour flight. So or more longer. So it's longer if you want to go to like Hawaii. It's like a 24-hour flight, I think. So
my dad's going to Hawaii like this month.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, but from Ireland, that's awesome. No, I've been to the UK. I've never been to Ireland. My parents have been to Ireland, and they said it's just one of the most beautiful places on earth. So someday we will come to Ireland, and we hope to see you then, man. We hope to see you then, Chris. Because man, I hear it's just some of the most beautiful, beautiful country. So all right, so
there we go. I thought that's what I had to do.
So Multi Sabata. Refreshed here. Hang on a second. Okay, favorite Hammer horror movies.
Probably Dracula, 1972 AD. That's a popular one, but I really enjoy it. It's 70s as hell Dracula movie. Yeah, Dracula goes to, like the title suggests, 1972. It was released in 1972. Yeah, that one I like a lot.
So
just concentrating.
Sure,
concentrating. Focus. Easy, steady. I can probably make a jump. So keeping an eye out for that fucking fireball. Would I be able to make this jump? Oh, yeah. Easy, steady, easy. Everyone be real quiet.
That's right. Everybody on the chat be very quiet.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there. There we go. Woo. Okay, so Brad Homonym, maybe Cannibal Holocaust. Which cut do you prefer? Or recommend? It's only the turtle bit that brothers really. It's only the turtle bit that bothers me really. So which cut of Cannibal Holocaust do you prefer? Recommend?
Well, if I said the one where the animals are getting killed, that means I'm a sociopath. Like, I just watch the one where they're not killing live animals in it.
Oh God, yeah.
Remember Cannibal Holocaust? Yeah. They kill they shoot the pig and kill the turtle and everything. Yeah, watch the animal cruelty-free one because there is a lot of good stuff in that movie. When it wasn't doing the stupid trademark that those movies had, where it was the animal, where it was the Amazon cannibal movies, that they all had like real animal deaths in them. Like, okay, I'm really glad that was there. It would have sucked without it. And don't even give me the shit that's like, oh, but they used that pig to feed the village afterwards. That's not why they put it in the movie. They put it in the movie to be shocking. That's why they did it.
Right.
Like, okay, if you want to use the pig to feed the village, just give it to them. You don't have to film it and put it in the movie.
That pig was their mayor.
Yeah. Maybe he was really corrupt.
Exactly. Yeah, they put him down. See here. So Nelson's TAS and Game Archives. Thank you for the donation. It says, watched you since 2009. First time giving you cash. You should sell more merch, Brad. I have lots of money to waste on TV or bad T-shirt purchases. Well, do we have news for you?
We have plenty of stuff to waste money on.
We totally do, yeah. Well, first of all, you can support us on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/thecinemasnob.
Yeah, we do have... Yeah, patreon.com/thecinemasnob.
So that's a way you can support us there.
We do sell T-shirts.
But merch, yeah, we do sell T-shirts.
That's Zazzle.com/thecinemasnob. Plus, walkaway.entertainment.com is our DVD store that's got like all the uncut DVDs on there. Jesus Bro, the Snob movie.
Yep.
We have another Cinema Snob movie coming out in the spring. We've also got another uncut DVD coming out that's a compilation of DVD exclusive episodes on Nazi exploitation movies.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you've got money to spend on merch, we've been expecting you.
Yeah, your one-stop shop.
That's right, for all things snob related. So yeah, check all those things out. That was really cool. And thank you for your support, and thank you for watching. We love having you here. Okay, so all right, so this is some personal business that we now have to take care of. So, and again, could you spell it phonetically how I'm supposed to say it? Because I do apologize. I want to say it correctly. Name? Well, it's the same way. It's the Sandre, and I keep saying like Knutsen. Mm-hmm. I know they already told me I'm doing it wrong. Okay, but here it says, as a Norwegian, I need you to apologize. We do not want a beloved book to take the fall for this movie. So I think you're talking to Snowman. So
well, luckily in the case of
what is that, is it a hole? Is it like how do we say?
In the case of that, like if people are reading the books, they're, from what I understand, they're probably not starting out with the Snowman, because I want to say the Snowman is like the 7th book in that series or something like that. I've heard really good things about those books.
Right. So,
I don't think Sarah's read any of them. She usually does read. Stuff whenever there's a movie coming out that's based on a book. But that one, I don't think she got around to.
So
doing this shit wrong.
Let's see here. So anyway, to our friend from Norway, I profusely apologize for mispronouncing everything. That's another country that, like, boy, would I love to see. Scandinavia, so all that area, Norway, beautiful. We live in Illinois. It's flat. It's gray.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to live in Los Angeles, but I moved here for good reasons. But still, it's flat and gray.
Yeah.
So.
It was kind of a shock when Laura moved out here for her, but she came from Virginia.
Right.
So the first time she came out here, it was just kind of a landscape shock. Like, everything was so flat and there's so much corn. Right. I remember when I was a kid and White Oaks Mall was just surrounded by corn.
Right.
Like, because I was around before they...
Make a call. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it. I was around before they opened up White Oaks West across the street from it. So it was just... Veterans would just end past... I mean, local references. I gotta make Wiggler squirm is the name of this level says, which basically means I gotta fuck him. Okay. Where are you, you stupid worm? I can see, if you still want to ask me questions even though I'm playing, I can still see the screen. There you are, you son of a bitch. Now I feel like I'm mean. I can't take this anymore. You get me all wet, then you stomp on me. Yeah, I'm gonna make you squirm, ass. I'm like ruining his home. Like, he has a right to be pissed off. Whoa. Knock it off. You ruined my home and now you're bashing me in the head. This is Mario going back to being a villain like Donkey Kong Jr. Fine, uncle. Any chance of... okay, let me... What do I think of... This is from Clayman FH. Thank you so much for the donation. What do you think of sketch movies like The Groove Tube? Also, will you come to CradleCon or Eternal Con? I'm not sure where those two cons are at. If they're Midwest, and that's certainly easy to go to. If they're outside of that, we typically have to wait until we're like invited to one. If they were to send us an invite and they're in the States, then yeah, absolutely. what the Groove Tube is very fucking funny. And I like those old sketch movies like that, like the Groove Tube and Kentucky Fried Movie. I'm more partial to Kentucky Fried Movie than I am the Groove Tube, but the Groove Tube does have a great opening sequence where it's playing Curtis Mayfield's Move On Up, and it's parodying 2001: A Space Odyssey, and there's this sequence where a hitchhiker is lured into the woods by a woman who strips naked. Like it's a really great opening sequence. The rest of the movie's kind of hit or miss, but when it works, it really, really works. There's a part where, did you ever see the Groove Tube?
No. Nope.
It's a really funny sketch movie from the 70s. That's that and like Kentucky Fried Movie or really funny. Groove Tube's a movie like that. And there's a part in when I first saw the Groove Tube, me and Dave rented it on VHS, and my dad had seen it before. He probably saw it in the theater. I want to say that movie came out in like 74. So my dad was like, just wait till you get to the venereal disease commercial. And it gets to this commercial where there's this like little puppet figure like doing a commercial for doing a PSA for STDs. And we're looking at it, and then it hits us what it is. Like, it's the head of this puppet is someone's dick that has googly eyes on the balls, and the nose is the shaft, and it's a real dick. Like, and it took us a second, and when it hit us, we were like, what? That was one of the best parts of the movie. Kentucky Fried Movie's great. Especially if you're a George Lazenby completist like I am. He's in that movie. I watch Kentucky Fried Movie a lot with like Rob and Doug because they're both huge into that movie as well, and that's one of those movies like The Great Race where we find out that someone hasn't seen it. We usually pop it up and be like, we're watching Kentucky Fried Movie or we're watching The Great Race.
Yeah.
Come here, you piece of shit. I gotta do the 100 coins thing. Oh shit, don't go in there. Not that it really would have mattered. I don't know why I freaked out that much. I would have been fine if I fell in there.
So, Voldegast, thank you for the contribution. Asks, Sarah's pregnant. Any chance of the two of you reviewing Rosemary's Baby together?
She's what?
What?
Reviewing Rosemary's Baby? If she wants to, sure. Why not? I like that movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but no, I really like Rosemary's Baby. I think that's one of Laura's favorite horror movies too. Oh, I already got
that. So Blake Foskey? Sorry. So anyway, you once had a cutoff date of 1995. Why that year? That's what I assume you're referring to. Like
for the snob. Because at the time, I think I was like, I should probably have a cutoff year, so I'm just doing movies of a certain time, and that'll keep a lot of more recent movies from being requested to me. And I think when I thought about that, it was maybe like 10 or 12 episodes in, and I want to say the most recent one that I had done at the time was Jaws 5, which was maybe 95 or 96. So I went ahead and just like picked that year. And I stuck to it for a while, honestly, until the religious movies started getting really popular. And I'm like, these would honestly make really good episodes. They're kind of like a modern exploitation film, just in a different way.
Right, right.
So that was, so me doing the episode on Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas was basically me completely getting rid of that.
Gotcha.
But before then, I think I made exceptions when it was a sequel to a episode I had done. But yeah, I don't really go by that anymore. Some people got mad. They're like, how could you? You're going against your old rules. I'm like, do you really care that much? First of all, like, and plus, that rule technically wasn't there at the beginning of the show, so
right. So yeah, we certainly opened up for a lot more options now.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Nelson's TSA and Game Archive. Did Brian enjoy the latest Medea film? Brian.
Oh, he didn't go see it.
Yeah.
That was me and Dave. Yeah, Brian's retired.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was me and Dave has a past of reviewing Medea movies. So
yeah, so you can check out Brad and Dave's review.
Yeah, that's posted. We did that live last night, and it went public this morning.
Okay, same guy. Also question: how much to get a snob review of Space Cop by RLM?
Oh, by Red Letter Media.
Their movie.
Yeah.
Movie. Okay.
Nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want it to look like like making fun of their channel, really.
Right.
I mean, I would do it in a way that didn't come across that way, but I mean, like,
maybe if we could reach out to them and collaborate with them on it,
certainly that. Yeah, because otherwise, like, their fan base would be like, "What the hell, man?"
Right? Yeah, and I don't really feel like we need to attack them.
Yeah.
So no, I don't. Yeah. No, if we collaborated with them, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be probably not seen as us, trying to make fun of them.
I haven't seen that movie, so
I haven't either.
I don't know if it's any good or not. Hey, maybe they could put one of mine on their best of the worst.
Sure, yeah, exactly. We could, yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll reach out to them. I mean, not that they want to talk to us.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Do you know them? Could you ask if we could collaborate with them?
I've never met them before.
So, I'm talking to this person who just sent it.
Yeah.
You commented. I know them because, yeah, well.
Yeah, no, I've not. I don't even know if I know anyone who does know them.
Right.
Because there's plenty of people that I've never met personally, but I'm friends with people who are friends with them, like Jeremy from Cinema Sins.
Yeah.
And those guys I haven't met, but I'm friends with people who've worked with them before. Red Letter Media, I don't know if I know anyone who's really worked with them. It's hard to get 100 coins in this one. So I got 55 more left to find. Okay. I am in a daze, man. I'm so tired. I can't lie, I'm so tired. I don't think there's 50 fucking coins in the Wiggler room. Oh, there is a decent amount of coins in there, actually. Come here, ass. You have coins.
That's right. Give me your coins. That's basically what Mario does in this, world and games. Is he goes around murdering the residents and looting them.
Yeah, so, he flooded Wiggler's home and then beat him over the head a few times.
Yeah, it's like this is basically just a one long home invasion is what this
is.
He comes into the house with these mushrooms and turtles and stuff, kills them, and takes all their stuff.
Oh, because of course the hole is plugged up again. Okay, where's the tunnel? Or the pipe? Oh, damn it. Oh,
hey, coins.
Wow. I totally intended to do that.
That was all intentional. And there's some coins.
I'm going really easy. I don't want to fuck up that sweet move I just did. I think there's a decent amount in here. Where's the blue coins at in this one? Oh wait, this is where the red coins are. I'll make this last because I don't want to have to get all of those again. I might fuck up and fall. All right, I need to find a pipe. small again. Don't get eaten by the fish. Okay. Don't fall.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you, brisk winds. I was asleep hard after this. Well, I gotta get the Snob episode rendered and put on Patreon.
Right.
So yeah, subscribe to our Patreon, since it'll be a Snob episode on Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. You idiot. Oh, sweet, more coins.
Some of that sweet, sweet coins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one where I gotta get 100 of these fuckers. Damn it. Yes. Come here. This is the point in the game where I get... This is the floor in the game where I get mad. Steady. Easy does it.
Okay, so, all right. Our friend from Norway, again, says, do you have any positives you like about the Star Wars prequels? Rarely hear about those. And don't worry about the name. English lacks the phonetics. English lacks a lot. You know? As far as languages go, English is kind of a pain in the ass.
Nothing makes my accent sound more American than when I'm trying to pronounce foreign words.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, you're very kind to let us off easy. But okay, the Star Wars prequels. What are the positives?
Ewan McGregor's really good on them.
Absolutely, Ewan McGregor's great. You know, I mean, there's a lot of.
I mean, despite despite what you can maybe say about Qui-Gon Jinn as a character, Liam Neeson is good.
You know, there's one of the VFX supervisors I knew, who is a legend. The guy's an absolute legend. He's amazing. Mm-hmm. But one of the things he did was he called them like, just better, faster, cooler versions of movies, and he would. Or LBVs, that's what it was. Less boring version is what he would call it.
I just fucked up so hard. I shouldn't have jumped down here. I don't think I can get back out.
Oh,
no!
Anyway, he cut what he'd call LBVs of movies. And he did one of The Phantom Menace.
Oh, okay.
And what he did was he cut out everything except the stuff about Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, they're it. Mm-hmm. And it's only a 20-minute movie, and it's about two badass Jedi space cops going and kicking ass.
Nice.
Yeah. There is no, obviously no Jar Jar. There is no, anything about the Naboo, anything about Anakin, anything about the pod race. There is only Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, just it's 20 minutes of them solving the mystery and getting into a badass lightsaber duel. That's it. That's the whole movie. And it's like, that story of them is like two badass Jedi space cops, All the rest. so that that's Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones, I tell you, Attack of the Clones is a hard one because I haven't seen it in its entirety in a very long time.
I've seen some of it recently because...
And it did not age well.
I didn't even like it back then. But... So, Laura grew up with those movies more than we did.
Sure.
Because she was... Like, a lot of young people who grew up with those movies, and I get it. Like, if you were that young when
that
they
was
came
your
out,
Star Wars. That was what you got to go see in the movie theater, and I get it,
So... Oh, damn it. Anyway, they were doing a marathon on TV not that long ago. I think it was when like Force Awakens like maybe premiered on TNT or something. So they did a giant marathon. Laura was watching through all of them, and when it got to Attack of the Clones, she was like, "Oh, I remember really really liking this one." And I go, "How long has it been since you've seen it?" She was like, "Since I was a little kid." And I go, "Have fun." I was editing that day, so I came in here to edit. Took a break, went out there. At one point, she's sitting there watching it, not looking happy, really. Like, she's kind of like, this isn't as good as I remember.
Yeah.
This is cringy. I'm like,
right.
Don't worry, honey. It's exactly how I remembered it.
Right. I mean, that's one of the ones that suffers the worst from dialogue, I think.
And that's saying something.
That's saying something. But I mean, like, it's really, attempting to have that romantic dialogue between Anakin and Padme, and it just fails so miserably. And like, since so much of the story or the premise is based on their relationship and the falling apart of it, like that just being so weak is it's cringeworthy. And the visual effect, I mean, that was a movie where it was shot all on green and blue screen, and all other characters were a tennis ball on a stick.
Yeah.
So you have talented actors
Yeah.
who are struggling really hard to be like, okay, now talk to this tennis ball.
Yeah, the third one like that too.
And the
right?
third one, was pretty much like that as well. It's just like what the positives. Like thinking back, I mean, because I watched it. I mean, I collected the toys. So
Palpatine was good in him.
Yeah,
he was really entertaining.
Is Ian McDermott? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. He was really fun. I do love that they brought him back.
Yeah.
To play the same character now, actually aged appropriate.
Yeah.
For being the Emperor and stuff. So that was really good. Yeah, and then Revenge of the Sith.
I mean, again, like the scene with the Emperor, with Palpatine and Anakin in that weird opera, like that was good.
But again, that's Ian McDermott.
Exactly.
And again,
Yeah.
he's phenomenal. I mean, his performance is creepy and just great. Yeah.
Made for one of my favorite scenes that we shot into Boldly Flee.
Oh, where you and
Rob was the executor, I think was the name of the character, where he was the Hollywood movie producer, and he's trying to like seduce me into making a Hollywood movie, and we're redoing that scene from Revenge of the Sith, and we were both losing our shit because I'm sitting there doing the scene, and he's doing the Palpatine voice, and he goes like, I'm like, I say something like, is there a way I can get this power or something? And he's like, not from a critic. And like, does this smile like he's just had a stroke. Like so we're cracking up doing that.
Yeah, it's so hard, especially since we've had now some better Star Warses. Like I really like Rogue One, and then being back more a return to form, which was the one that came out, the J.J. Abrams one,
Force Awakens,
and then even the merits of like Last Jedi. Like I'm struggling to come up with things that were like good from the prequels, like because I'm trying to be really nice here and come up with things that are like good. I'm having a hell of a time. Whereas like Last Jedi, though I know that is a very divisive movie. The Last Jedi I know is a very divisive movie. I can come up with good things about Last Jedi.
So can I.
I mean, there's certain parts and flaws about Last Jedi that I didn't like. And there's directions they're taking the entire franchise that I understand why they're doing it, even though I don't necessarily like it. But I can come up with good things about Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm having a hell of a time coming up with good things about Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, It's hard. I mean, I'm trying to be nice. I'm like, what did I like about those movies?
For me, not much.
And it is. It's
honestly, those were the Twilight movies before Twilight.
Yeah.
Sorry, that there might be some huge disagreement there, but honestly, yeah.
Let's see here.
I'm trying.
Okay. I saw somebody say music. You know what? Yeah, there's music in the prequels that's amazing, but it's John Williams.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, okay, so yeah, your John Williams score is going to be amazing, and yeah, like some of the music cues that he does in Attack of the Clones is beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely
all three
amazing.
of them.
Yeah, all three. I mean, yeah. What do they call it? Like Duel of the Fates is the name of the track where like it's the lightsaber battle between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Like that's probably one of the most iconic and amazing musical scores in Star Wars that there is.
Yeah,
and it's from
it's from Phantom Menace.
It's from Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, yeah, okay, thank you. That's a good point. Where's a good one? Yeah, it's that's amazing. Those are phenomenal. But again, that's a guaranteed thing. It's John Williams. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the guy's probably one of the best composers probably ever.
Oh, certainly.
You know, not just of a generation, but just probably ever. There's some great composers out there, and there will probably some great ones to come. But there will never be another John. Just like there'll never be another Jerry Goldsmith. You know.
Or Ennio Morricone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, never will be. So. Anyway, yeah, there you go. That's us struggling like hell to come up with nice things to say about the prequels.
It was fun. We went to go see that 3D screening of Phantom Menace.
Oh man!
Do you remember that? They were giving out Star Wars Legos too.
Oh, maybe yeah.
At those screenings, like little like goodie bags or whatever that had Star Wars Legos in them. They were originally going to do that with like all 6 movies. Ooh. They were going to convert them to 3D and release them to the theaters. But God damn it! But they started with I'm so pissed off right now. I think the hardest one through this whole thing so far is just to get 100 fucking coins in tiny Big Island. What was I saying? I'm so mad.
What were we talking about? Oh, the 3D screening of
okay. Yeah, so they were going to do that with all 6 movies. Then they started with Phantom Menace, and so no one gave a shit.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And, like, I don't think it did great, but they didn't do any more after that. When we went to go see that in the theater, I know I've talked about this before on some midnight screenings, but when we went to go see that, it was one of the most depressing re-releases I've been to, because everyone was there, like, out of, like, obligation, it felt like. Like, we were because we were reviewing it. Like, at least we had an excuse. Right. Like, we're seeing it so we can review it afterwards. But most other people there were just there because, okay, it's Star Wars and it's in 3D.
Right.
And everyone was so depressed there, except for, like, the 3 12-year-olds who were there.
Right.
But everyone else was, like, maybe in their 20s. And so the manager comes out and is like, is everyone ready to see Star Wars? And they were all like, and the one guy behind us who was like, who goes, can you just play Empire? And the manager's like, sorry. One of my favorite nerd rage moments at a movie was when Sarah and I were at Ender's Game, and Sarah and I were at Ender's Game, and there was a big dude sitting behind us with like a bunch of candy in one arm and a large popcorn in the other. You can probably picture in your head what this guy looks like.
And you're probably exactly right.
And you would be right.
Yeah.
So when the movie started, it was the wrong movie. And it seemed weird at first because it was showing these opening credits that were showing like the progression of the written word. And I was watching it going like, well, I mean, it's based on a book. Maybe that's what they're doing here.
Right,
I don't know. Anyway, then the title pops up and it said The Fifth Estate. Which is the Benedict Cumberbatch one where he plays Julian
Assange, yeah.
And,
whoops.
So, yeah, like, we're like, are we in the right theater? And someone gets up to say something, and the manager comes in and is like, is this supposed to be The Fifth Estate? And that big dude behind us is just like, it's fucking supposed to be! This ruined his week.
That man,
he's looking forward to this for so long.
That man didn't rent a wench to get him out of his house, to lower him into those seats. To watch.
I know it was for Ender's Game.
Anyway, went to see Ender's Game.
Movie wasn't even very good. Patrick Gertz from Double Toasted told me a funny story once. I think this is in their review too on Double Toasted, where when they were at the screening for the advanced screening for 50 Shades Freed, I think some gross guy was sitting next to him with just like a bag of meat next to him, just like a bag of like cold cuts or some shit.
God.
And I was just reaching over into this backpack that was on like I think a bunch of folded laundry, just reaching over these greasy figures eating this bag of meat.
Oh my God, that's creepy. That is disturbing.
It's on.
Just bring my bag of meat with me.
I think he talks about it in the review for the movie. I'm not sure if it's on the YouTube version or on the live version. That's on doubletoasted.com. That's funny. That's never happened to me before.
No, that's pretty nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Nice. Let's see here. Okay, so Madcap Productions said Resident Evil 96 is worth a stream and a snob episode.
Is it what?
Resident Evil 96. Was that the movie?
The movie or the game? The movie wasn't in 96, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
the game, yeah,
if I can stream it, sure.
Yeah, I mean, these, we've gotten pretty good responses from doing these.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we do have one. We do want to do more in the future. So, yeah, I think that'd be a fun one. All right, so next question from Multi Sabata. Thank you for the contribution. Favorite Batman animated series episodes from the 90s? Okay.
It's been so long since I've gone back and watched those.
That's funny. That is true. I was thinking about that series just recently. I have a lot of the like graphic novels and comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I actually knew a guy who works at for DC Comics.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the head of their advertising for their comic book division, and he actually gave me some comics too. So, and one of them is a graphic novel series that's done in the style of the animated series from the 90s. I love that series.
Yeah,
but it's
totally.
funny. You're right. Like I haven't.
Shit.
You should probably focus on what you're doing.
I know.
So I haven't gone back and watched that series in a while, but it was appointment television for me every day after school.
Yeah,
to see it. I love that series, and even as I've been writing, like I was developing for a little while I still have it. I mean, it's going to take too much money for us to produce, but like I've been writing a more like dramatic kind of like 30-minute, 22-minute episodes like action series.
Oh, cool.
That I think I've told you about it.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since we've talked about it because again, it's gonna require more money than we have to do.
Yeah.
But like, I based the episode structure and kind of how it worked by going back and watching old episodes of Batman the Animated Series because they did so well a drama, an action drama in a 22-minute span. I mean, they did it so very well, and I mean, because most the standard wisdom is that drama can only be done in an hour-long format. But they took this dark comic book series and did it in a way that was animated and arguably something that kids could watch, but it was still so good.
Yeah, I would watch it after school as well, because that was what it was on. It was on about 4:30, 4 o'clock here. Almost Got Him was a really good episode. That one sticks out in my head.
Yeah, you're right, where they're all talking, they're all playing cards.
Yeah.
They're talking about when they almost,
the one where Bruce Wayne loses his memory and is working in, like, this mine.
That's a good one.
Like, that one
there's just a lot of really good episodes.
I would have to go through and
the
watch
Grey
a lot
Ghost
of them again.
episode with Adam West.
Yeah.
Adam
Yeah.
West, was the Grey Ghost. God, yeah, I actually like. I think about this from time to time, just because I've got those comic books stacked because I read them and go through them at night, and like every so often through the rotation, I'll get those Batman ones on there, and be like, I really want to go back and watch that series again because it's just a damn good series. I mean, I know there was a lot of incarnations of it. I know that like it ran for a few years, and then they brought it back. I think with a different name, but it was still kind of the same animation.
Oh, okay.
Because it did a lot. And I know that they went through a couple incarnations of Robin, and then eventually there was like Nightwing, and then like the younger Robin.
Those I haven't seen Batman Beyond really.
Right. Then there's like Batman Beyond, and then there was like the Batman. Some of these came out more recently. And I know that some of them are actually were pretty good. I just haven't had a whole lot of time to watch a lot of shows. But yeah, that original Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, that's like the gold standard of just a damn good cartoon show that does drama really, really well.
Yeah.
So I see a note here. We're skipping ahead here, but someone said you get 5 coins if you ground pound the giant Goombas.
Oh, right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Help you on your quest for. That was from Esteban Salinas. Thank you for that contribution and that tip.
Yeah.
So, going back to Multi Sabata's question, favorite Frankenstein movies from you both?
I love the Kenneth Branagh one. It doesn't get very good. It wasn't very well reviewed when it came out. I don't even know how much of a following it necessarily has now. But that's a really underrated movie. I mean, I love Kenneth Branagh anyway.
Sure, right. Yeah.
And so I love him anyway. And I honestly might even like it better than Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
Shit. Oops. Oh well.
That's right. Okay. Honestly, Young Frankenstein.
Oh yeah. That's a classic. Yeah.
Like, I mean, of all the ones I've seen, like my still favorite one to see, and like what is like an annual Halloween viewing. Also, because Laura really likes it too. Is Young Frankenstein? Is I'll watch Young Frankenstein, and I just love that one.
That probably is the one I've seen the most.
Yeah.
Not even probably. It is the one I've seen the most.
Oh my god. Great movie.
Like, I saw that before I even saw the Karloff ones. And then when I did later see the Karloff ones, especially in Bride of Frankenstein, when things were happening that were parodied in Young Frankenstein, like I was watching it and was like kind of snickering a little bit because I could remember the like the little girl and the blind man scenes from Young Frankenstein.
Isn't it funny that, like, I mean, because I grew up, watching all the Mel Brooks movies, that, like, my favorite Western tropes come from Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles and Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Like, of all the Westerns I've seen, my still favorite Western and Western tropes are from those two movies.
I'm so sick of this world. Yeah, they re-released. Dave and I reviewed it because they re-released Blazing Saddles when Gene Wilder died.
Oh right,
and so we reviewed that and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because they released them both in a double feature. So Dave and I reviewed both of them. I didn't realize until that day that Dave does not like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh yeah.
So he was just there because he wanted to see Blazing Saddles again. And when we were, it's actually a really funny review. Because watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Dave was so fucking funny. Like I like the movie just fine. Like
sure,
it's not really sentimental to me like it is a lot of other people.
Right.
But I like it. It's not one that I watched a lot when I was a kid. Here and there, but there were other Gene Wilder movies I watched way more.
Right.
Like Silver Streak and of course Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. Oh shit. Oh well, this would be quicker now that I remember the stupid Goomba thing. I'm so sick of this. But anyway, when we were watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Dave was not having any of it in the theater, and this was a packed theater with like a lot of families.
What does he have against it? Just like
he doesn't like it. Like, so in the opening credit sequence, when it's the opening credit sequence where it's all the chocolate being made and everything, and the machines making the chocolate, and there's these fountains and all this shit. Dave's next to me and he just goes, they're just wasting chocolate. And, Uncle Joe gives Charlie the candy bar for his birthday or whatever, and Dave is sitting next to me like, if you had that money, maybe you should go out and find a job, you lazy sack of shit. And what else did he say?
Oh my god. Fish was right there.
Alright, you know what? I'm gonna go do some other stuff real quick. I'm sick of... I'll go back for that. I need a change of scenery for a sec. And in the Cheer Up Charlie sequence, Dave leads over and he's like, he's not even leaning over when he's saying this, he's just saying them. He said something like, why is this shot like Taxi Driver? And then people on YouTube took that scene and re-edited it to put the Bernard Herrmann score over it from Taxi Driver, and it honestly works. Like, wow, it really does kind of look like Taxi Driver.
That's amazing.
Didn't even need to do that. This world I like.
You're right.
Glad people are still watching after my fucking dickery in the giant level.
I know, yeah. It's okay, Multi Zapata said, thoughts on the next Bond movie?
I haven't seen anything on it, so I
don't know.
I'm
not really sure. I mean, it's still going to be Daniel Craig, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he signed up for, I think, at least like a couple more.
Okay.
I know Danny Boyle dropped out of it, I think. Because I think Danny Boyle was originally supposed to direct that.
Oh.
But then dropped out for whatever reason, and I don't know who's replaced him. Oops. So, yeah, I mean, when I see it, fine. Oh, they are in, like, I think final negotiations for Rami Malek to play the villain.
Ah, okay.
That should be good.
Yeah.
I've seen him play a villain before. He was the first thing I saw him in was he was a terrorist suicide bomber on a few episodes of 24.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll do.
No, he's awesome. I mean, he's great. That's right. So once you... Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So,
all of these worlds you can always count on, like, there will be a star at the top of whatever world you're in. Trikuken. I think that's what it is. Thank you for the contribution. It said, hey, Brad, I've been a fan since your Caligula review. Oh, thank you. That was my 100th episode.
That's right. And I love this new series of gaming streams with you and Ryan. All right, cool. We glad you like him.
He's like, I hate it. Bye.
I have 2 requests. One, please re-upload your Robot Jocks.
Oh, okay.
And 2, can you tell us what Spoonie is up to nowadays?
Robot Jocks, yeah. I can't remember if I've tried uploading that. I don't think I have. I don't think this is a situation where I couldn't upload it because of, like, copyright shit.
Right.
So, yeah, I could probably upload that one again next time I need to do an archive episode. And I haven't hung out with Noah for a little while. I've been meaning to make a trip back up there again sometime. Because I miss seeing him. I miss hanging out with him. So, yeah, I need to reach out sometime and see if he'd be up for hanging out some weekend.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'd love to see him too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only time I really met him was when we made the first Snob movie.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Last I saw him was a year or 2 ago when we were up there hanging out during the holidays. I remember the first time I played through this level. This one's like, yeah, it's Mystery of the Monkey Cage.
Mm-hmm.
They throw you off because there's a monkey down there.
Yeah.
So I remember spending however long being like, all right, what's this fucker supposed to do? He took my hat. Like, is that what he's supposed to do? There's a second monkey up here. Like, oh, ha, 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 ha.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, it's going to be like this, huh?
Oh, you cheeky monkey.
Marcel! I am too tired to be chasing around a monkey. Maybe if I sneak up on him.
Oh. This is enthralling because I
I'm sitting here like, I am tired, and the reason I'm tired is Medea related. So I'm not in the mood to be chasing this thing around. Oops! Oh, god damn it! Why would you even give me that option? Oh, okay. I did the right thing.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm getting mad for no reason. Right, because he doesn't just give you a star, he jumps on the thing.
Right, okay.
It's down there somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, is it in there in the waterfall?
No, well, that's a different one. This one's right down there. Stupid monkey.
All right.
Luckily, the red coins are all kind of in the same general area in this one. So long as I don't fall off of the goddamn mushroom. I hope people are finding it more amusing than in this particular stream. I'm significantly grumpier than
right. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Yeah. Everybody's getting grouchy bread.
I'm tired. I'm so tired. Yeah, eat a dick.
So Delta Septile, I think that's what it is. Thank you for the contributions. My favorite review of yours is Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like the perfect snob episode because it's a review on a religious movie, a porno spoof, and a '70s exploitation film all rolled into one.
Yeah, that's a crazy movie, man. Like it's the '70s Sodom and Gomorrah porn that's from the Mitchell brothers who did Behind the Green Door, and is so funny. Like, cause like God is in it. And God is a talking chimpanzee on board a spaceship. And the person it's a real monkey. They just have someone dubbing over his voice. And the person dubbing the voice is doing a John Wayne impression. So like, there's gonorrhea down there, pilgrim. It's getting out of hand. I think we should castrate the preverts. And then there's a moose head that sounds like Walter Brennan. That's like, oh, we should go down there and get him, Duke. Like, it's funny, like.
Yes, that is.
They were on some shit when they made that fucking movie. Like, yeah, thank you. That is a good one. I like that episode. It'd probably be hard to put that one on YouTube.
Yeah, probably.
I make reference to it all the time. Like, that's an older episode that I throw back to a lot because of the God Monkey and with John Wayne. And since that's kind of an older episode, the people who have only discovered us since going back to YouTube will see that and be like, what the hell clip is that from? That's Sodom and Gomorrah, the last 7 days. Of course it's on a mushroom out there. Such grace.
Alright, he's a plumber, right? You know, he's not.
Yeah. I need to get this just right. That way I can die and have to do it again. Just let me there.
Woo! Nice.
Jesus. But yeah, I highly recommend seeking that movie out. That Sodom and Gomorrah movie. Oh, this guy's got a star. Luckily, I don't have to fight Bowser at the end of this.
Oh, right.
I just need to get the ones in this area right here. And I think there's just 100 coins in the other one, and then another snow level, which is easy enough. It's not hard to get 100 coins in Tall Mountain. When you go down the mysterious slide, there's a lot of coins on that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a bathroom break here in a second.
Right. So we're gonna be in Cleveland next week.
Oh yeah.
I guess we can tell everybody about that on here. The Wizard World Cleveland.
We got Wizard World Cleveland coming up next weekend, March 8th through the 10th, and then we're doing C2E2.
Yeah.
That's at the end of March. We're doing that with Doug and them, so we'll all be at C2E2 in Chicago, and Then there's Wizard World St. Louis, which is in April.
That's right.
Forget the exact dates, but it's in April. We'll be at Wizard World St. Louis.
I know you can check out all that stuff if you go to Wizard World's website.
Yeah, it's at wizardworld.com.
Yeah, you can
Plus,
check out.
our promo code gets you 20% off your tickets. The free tickets we gave away for Cleveland went away in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And as long as that video is still up of me talking about that, I'll probably still be getting emails even after the con that's like, hey, there's free tickets still available.
That's right, yeah, the con was 6 months ago, but I still got free tickets.
Oh, I thought it was for the con next year. Like, yeah, man, let me see what I can do. You doing any editing after this?
Tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
Were you doing a lot last night, too?
Yeah. I've been trying to get this this first cut of the movie done.
Yeah.
I'd like to have something done, obviously soon. It's taking me a little longer on this particular one than just because of, working on other things as well. I thought about, boy, wouldn't it be great to have a staff?
Oh, yeah.
But nope, we don't have that. We just have us. So, but yeah, it's coming along. I mean, the response to the still images we put up were so good. So I can't wait for everybody to see.
Those were really good. The response to that was great.
Some some more images, or once we actually have a trailer cut. So it's I think I've said it a bunch of times. I think you guys are gonna love this movie. It's gonna be it's gonna be so it's really it's pretty, it's funny, it's got
it's in CinemaScope.
It's in CinemaScope, so it looks just so cool.
Yeah, I knew the response to the still shots would be really, really good. I also knew the response to the still shots would be surprised with how good it looked, considering the last movie I wrote was Disco. I'll have gotten all 6 of these stars in this world in the amount of time that it's going to take me to get 100 coins on fucking Tall Mountain. Or Big Tiny,
That's a Big Tiny
Island, whatever. Yeah. Whatever it's called. I hate it. I don't like it.
Oh, Delta Subtile asked, I noticed in your last Mario 64 live stream that in Hazy Maze Cave, that when trying to get on the Dory the dinosaur, you didn't ground pound its back to lower its head.
Well, I didn't want to hurt it. Yeah, that's one of those things that I forgot you could even do that because I'm so used to doing it the other way. Like, I'm so used to just jumping on his head from when I first had the game that's just what I'm used to doing with it. And it's more challenging that way.
Right, yeah. Why do things the easy way?
Why would I hurt him? What am I, Cannibal Holocaust? Ah!
Whoa.
Is there an easier way to do this? Yeah.
There we go.
Thought so. I was like, I know it can't be that I'm jumping out of that fucking thing.
Nice.
Jumping on his back to over his head. Do you want to be the one to piss off the Loch Ness Monster? I'll be right behind you. This one's just funny because you gotta use the cannon to shoot up that star that's just on the mushroom, and if you're off, you die, like, because there's nothing else around it, so it's just trial and error. And the pink dude is, I want to say, like, yeah, he's down here, I think. Thought that's where he was. Oh,
no!
Yeah, I think he's up in that little thing that I fell past.
Yeah.
Hungry?
Oh, yeah.
You can order something to eat if you want.
I'm okay for now. Whoop.
I might go get some crackers here in a second.
Emergency crackers.
Yeah.
But,
if Laura was in there moderating, I'm sure she's long since fallen asleep. Watching me play this shit. Oh, yeah.
Right, there he is.
I say we do this every year.
Do an annual playing of Mario 64.
I mean, I honestly do an annual playing of Mario 64 myself.
Might as well live stream
I'm just,
it, right?
yeah, just live streaming at this time. Of course, usually when I do it, it's not often that I'm going for the full 120 stars.
Right.
Because some stuff I just don't really care about replaying.
So, okay, here's a question came in. Any movies or games you can recommend for story alone?
What?
Games,
yeah, like, you know, Red Dead Redemption, of course.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, the ones everyone would kind of go to: Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, I just I bought it on Steam sale recently, but Max Payne 3. Mm-hmm. The Max Payne series.
Yeah.
I think are really, really good for story. I mean, honestly, they're good action games on their own right, but then also just like the graphic noir style that they do. I really love those games. Mm-hmm. There's a good game. I think it was kind of underrated, but I thought it was pretty good. It was called Spec Ops: The Line. Mm-hmm. That came out a few years ago. That was, kind of just your typical action. I think it was a third-person shooter. Mm-hmm. But it's a game where what's really interesting is that the stuff that happens, in this like war, anti-terrorism, like assault game, starts to psychologically affect the main character.
Oh, okay.
And it's a pretty interesting game. I won't spoil the whole thing if you haven't played it, because it's story-wise it's worth playing, because it does some interesting twists you wouldn't expect a video game about running around shooting terrorists to do. Mm-hmm. And so that was a pretty interesting one. Story-wise, story alone. I mean, I love the Fallout games.
Yeah.
I mean, those games story-wise, those are those are rich, deep story games. I love those games. Yeah.
Don't forget, like, Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt. That's a great story. Yeah. Those damn ducks.
Alright, I just gotta get 100 coins in here, but it's the opposite of the other one where it's actually not that hard in this.
Right, yeah.
I say that, but maybe it'll be the one time I really fuck it up.
Are we caught up on this?
Are we all caught up on questions?
Yes, we are. Just making sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for spending your Saturday watching
watching us yak about stuff and play Play Mario 64. I think what other games I really like story-wise.
I mean, one of the most underrated games on the NES is Vice Project Doom. That's like a futuristic cop game. And that's got a really good story to it. It's got like a cloning storyline and everything. Like it's really pretty cool.
Oh, you know what? BioShock is really interesting storytelling.
Yeah.
Now I played BioShock and then I played BioShock Infinite. I haven't played the second one, but I really like the story. I mean, it's really interesting storytelling. And I really like that. I really like that you can tell interesting stories and still have it be a game.
Yeah.
A fun video game. We were just talking, I think, yesterday about Desert Bus.
Yes.
Oh, did you the lockup? Oh, there it goes. Because I don't know if you guys know about Desert Bus.
Desert Bus is awesome.
Desert Bus is from Penn Jillette and Penn and Teller. But Penn Jillette, I know, as one who's talked about it. But he was commenting on how, I think it was like Janet Reno, and then I think at the time Senator Hillary Clinton were, complaining about how video games don't, teach any, kids or anything about the real world or about actual real jobs. And so they developed a game called Desert Bus.
Yeah.
Where the game is literally just about you drive a bus from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada.
There's an Angry Video Game Nerd episode on it too.
And there's nothing else about it other than you just drive a bus that that pulls to the right.
I want to say
nothing happens for 8 hours.
It was part of a contest too, like to see who would go the longest on it. And
the way Penn Jillette explains it is that they developed the idea and never went anywhere.
Yeah.
And then some hacker somehow got the code for the game online, and then released it in like Eastern Europe or something.
Okay.
And so then so there was like a pirated version of this game that was floating around the internet.
Okay.
And then there was a charity. There was a Desert Bus for Hope, like charity, like marathon of playing it. And so people were donating money for these people to just play the game for over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And the game's hilarious because you drive for 8 hours, and then you get 1 point.
Yeah.
That's it. You only get a point. So. And I've seen people comment on here and saying like the most you could ever earn was 99 points.
That's a bitch.
And so, it's hilarious. And like I was telling you that like I have my VR system, and they released for free. They've developed Desert Bus VR, so it's VR of you sitting on the bus driving it for 8 hours.
I respect that shit so much. It's like if Andy Kaufman made a video game.
It is. Like, it's just genius. It's just a wonderful FU to this whole idea of like, well, buses aren't, video games aren't teaching people for the real world. Well, it doesn't get much realer than that.
Yeah.
So story-wise, so that's sort of an answer to your question. But yeah, I just love that idea. And, I have the HTC Vive is what I use. So, and I have my PC set up. So I there's some really great VR, and like that. I mean, I've not played the full 8 hours of it, but like it's just so funny. I love dedication to a joke.
Yeah. Same.
Right. Because it's one thing for them to have. It's already hilarious for them to have just like said, "What if you made a game where you're just driving a bus from Tucson to Vegas?" Like that's already funny. But then to take these game designers, and like I think Gearbox Software did it initially, and then for them to just like, we're gonna own this and we're gonna do it. We're gonna 3D scan a bus, and then we're gonna take that 3D scan of a bus and build a bus, and then we're going to build a course, an 8-hour-long driving course. From Tucson, and we're just gonna do it.
And I've been on a bus from Springfield to Des Moines, and it sucked, and I wasn't even driving.
Okay, so Brian Nielsen asked again, what is the appeal of the movie The Searchers? I watched it recently and thought it was overwritten, overacted, atonal, boring mess. It's on the AFI's top 100. So, The Searchers. What do you think is the...
I like The Searchers. I was always more of a Clint Eastwood guy than John Wayne. But I still grew up watching John Wayne movies because he was one of my dad's favorite actors. And so was Eastwood. So I grew up watching them both. But I do love Rio Bravo, the John Wayne movie with him and Dean Martin and Walter Brennan and Ricky Nelson. But The Searchers, I mean, John Wayne was good at playing John Wayne, you know. That's why you had John Wayne in a movie, because it's not that John Wayne was versatile.
Yeah.
It's that he's good at playing that type. That's the kind of actor he was. Like, he was like, you're hiring him to be that personality, and he's good at being that personality. What works about The Searchers is that he's a bit darker in that. Mm-hmm. Like, it actually touches on a lot of prejudices that his character has due to Natalie Wood being kidnapped in the film.
Right,
so he does have a bit more dramatic. He's given a little bit more dramatic material in that film than in, you know, obviously something like McClintock or Sons of Katie Elder or a movie like that. So, if you're into his movies, that's a decent one to check out. It's not my favorite one. But, you know, if you're just not into that kind of Western, because I'm more into, I am more into the Eastwood movies. The Eastwood movies are a lot darker and a lot grittier, and that's the kind of Western I prefer over the John Wayne movies. But no, I think The Searchers is fine. I understand why it has such high marks as it does.
Right.
But I mean, it's not one I go back and watch a lot. Certainly, really, the only John Wayne movie that I do go back and will watch a lot is Rio Bravo.
Oh, nice, yeah.
That's it for that one.
So, Mason Marcus, Norm of the North 2, Key to the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, when? Keys to the Kingdom review when?
Yeah, I do need to do a midnight screenings of that. There's a sequel, to Norm of the North that's out. As soon as I have time, definitely, that'll happen. Apparently, it's done like one of those Disney sequels that feels like it's 3 episodes of something stitched together.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So you need that with Norm the freaking North.
Great, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that has a sequel. Why?
Okay, so the next one, it's Fakofsky, Blake Fakofsky. Thank you for phonetically spelling that out for me. Thank you. So anyway, thanks for re-uploading Heart Beeps.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Love your performance of hating it then slowly liking it.
I love that movie. That's a really smart movie. Like, I remember seeing it when I was younger and like thinking like, oh, this was bad. And then when I watched it as an adult, like, this is way more clever than it's getting credit for.
Uh-huh.
It's these 2 robots going through an entire lifetime's worth of a plot and romance, from meeting to having children to then dying in the span of like 2 days.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Like, that's a seriously underrated movie. I was genuinely surprised with how much I enjoyed it when I watched it again. Where's that stupid fucking fish that ate me last time?
He's right there.
But yeah, so I didn't know if I was going to have a problem re-uploading Heart Beeps, because this was made in the blip days, and I didn't know how much I forget what studio put it out, but I didn't know how close they keep watch over Heart Beeps or any of their content really, but I didn't have to cut anything out of it. Like, it totally went through. So yeah, I put that I put that up the other day.
So, and the next part of that question is thoughts on Wes Anderson's filmography.
I like Wes Anderson.
I do too. Yeah, he's just a very fun director.
Yeah, now, I get why people don't. But...
Yeah, well, it's quirky.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's quirky. It's not your typical kind of storytelling, and like his excessive use of symmetry can get a little jarring at certain points. You know, like we're used to looking at pictures and images in a certain way, and when he does his extreme symmetry stuff, I mean, which I particularly like, I can see how that would seem kind of weird, or like there's his colors and the things that he puts on there that might seem a little jarring. So
I mean, he's one of those guys where there's such similarities between all of his works that if you've seen, I won't go so far as to say like, oh, if you saw one and didn't like it, you're not going to like any of the others. I'm not going to say that because like I know people who don't like Wes Anderson at all, but they really like the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
But if you've seen, let's say, 3 Wes Anderson movies,
yeah,
and you didn't like any of them, you probably won't like the rest.
Right? Yeah. So.
Rushmore, I love.
Yeah,
that one's maybe still my favorite. Just when Bill Murray's in that elevator, like pouring Jack Daniels into the can of Coke that's in his front pocket, and he's got 2 cigarettes hanging out of his mouth. Are you okay? I'm a bit lonely these days. It's funny, man. I like that movie.
Yep.
Honestly, the only one that I really didn't care that much for was Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, though, no, I really like.
What about his animated ones?
Oh yeah, Isle of Dogs was really freaking good.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see
really
the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I don't think I've seen that all the way through. Did I? I need to watch that one again.
Yeah. Because again, I really like his stuff, so I really want to see that. But okay, so Delta Siptow said, "What are the chances of getting a snob review of Scream?"
Yeah, I mean, I could probably do something with that, but I'm not feel much drive to do it now.
Yeah.
But because there's a lot of other franchises I want to get to first, like we just had the one up for Hellraiser, and that did really well. So there'll be ones for the Hellraiser series, the Medea movies, probably Puppet Master. Forget what else. What have I done recently? Left Behind. But Scream, off in the future probably, but not anytime soon, really.
So there's a chance, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, just not anytime soon. 1 in a million. So you're telling me there's a chance?
You're telling me there's a chance. That's a movie that I hadn't thought about in a while, but every so often, like I think of it, like every time somebody says, soup of the day, I'm like, that sounds good.
Soup du jour.
Soup du jour.
It's the soup of the day.
Sounds good.
I think I'll have that. I think about Dumb and Dumber all the time. This is one of my favorite comedies.
Oh yeah. Well, like I've been to 2 years in a row. We took Caroline to the Mickey's Halloween party there in Disneyland, and like all the time you saw people dressed up in the orange and blue tuxedos.
Yeah.
Going as a pair, like that's still. And I mean, they're people like our age or older, so it's like they obviously know the movie, but it's like I don't think any of these kids know or have any clue.
Dumb and Dumber.
Or
they should.
They should though. Yeah.
I could watch that movie anytime.
I know.
We did have it on when we were shooting the movie. When we were shooting another Cinema Snob movie, one of the last. In fact, I think it was the last day we were shooting where. Because we were shooting in the studio there in Chicago.
That's right, yeah.
So when we were in the area where we were all hanging out between takes, we had on Dumb and Dumber at one point, and Laura had never seen The Cable Guy, so she had that on.
Oh, Cable Guy, yeah.
I really like The Cable Guy. That's really underrated. I really like The Cable Guy a lot.
Okay, have you watched any of the Salem's Lot series?
I saw the original, but no, was there a new Salem's Lot series? There wasn't. I don't know. There was a new one, wasn't there? Didn't it have Rob Lowe in it?
Oh, really?
Maybe, unless I'm thinking of something else. I saw the original. I might have seen Return to Salem's Lot way back in the day.
Yeah, there was one in 2004. It looks like.
Was that the Rob Lowe one?
Yeah, with Rob Lowe.
Okay.
Donald Sutherland was in that too. Oh wait, there's a Salem TV series. I don't know. Maybe that's not the same thing.
Come here, dick.
Get him.
I need to get this asshole because he's got a blue coin.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. So, there's a new Salem's Lot series?
Well, there's a Salem series. I don't know if it's a Salem's Lot, but there is a Salem series. So, I don't know.
Okay. Do I want it?
5 coins.
Yeah. No, 13.
Oh, 95 is stars. That's right. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Oh, cool. There's some up there. Almost got it. I'm going to do something to fuck it up. I know.
Watch it with bated breath.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. There are at least 6 coins in there. Go away.
It's very intense.
Sorry.
On the screen because we're you know,
yeah.
we all want this part of the level to be done.
Yeah. Oh.
Woo.
Okay, well, I can. No, you know what? I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna try going in the red coin one.
Okay.
Because I might fall off of a fucking thing.
So, thoughts on the new Joker movie?
The teaser's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like the Joaquin Phoenix casting.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he looks very much like the Heath Ledger one, certainly, and I'm guessing that might be kind of the vibe that they're going for with it. But you know what?
Which
fine.
is cool. Yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I really want to see what they do with it.
Yeah, you know, it's a role that, like, just, you know, there's always so much interest in developing what that character is and can do. So.
And yeah, I mean, it's certainly a character that we're all very, very familiar with. It's been done many, many, many times before.
Right.
But given that one of the last things that we saw of that character was the Jared Leto one, so I mean, he's kind of due for a comeback.
Right.
Yeah.
There we go. Woo!
Oh, God. Yeah, I do want to save.
Yes.
I'm gonna grab some crackers real quick and use the restroom.
Oh,
I'll be right back.
So, yeah, Brad will be right back as he's going to get his crackers. That was an ordeal. Working through that level. Oh, man. You know, this is a game that, like, you know, Brad talks about how he played it all the time. Like, I didn't actually have this game. I don't know if I told you that. Like, I didn't have Mario 64 for my game system.
For your 60, when you had 64?
Well, you know, if you recall, it didn't come with the 64. Like, the 64 didn't come with any games.
That's right. I forgot
So you had to actually buy this. So, like, we rented this game, you know, obviously several times. And so I would play it a lot. And I think I played it all the way through once, but that obviously would have been a long, long time ago. So, you know, watching through the game again, like, there's certain levels that, like, I probably never even played. Like, I probably never even played some of these levels because I never, you know, went for full completion. It's like once you beat Bowser, it's like, okay, done. And also you had to return it back to the rental store because that's what we had to do back then. You know, we rented it for the weekend. You know, there was always a big thing. We go out Friday night, and we get mom and dad would get a movie, and then me and I have two older brothers, so we could get a game. And of course, being the youngest brother, I had third go on playing the video game. So
I forgot that the 64 didn't, because I got the 64 for my birthday the year it came out.
Mm-hmm.
My dad gave me this Mario 64, Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
I think it was just those two. But you're right. I think you did buy Mario 64 separately.
Yeah, you had to buy. Well, because I was just telling them, you know, that we had to rent it.
Yeah.
So that's how we got the game was by renting.
The cat out.
Uh-oh.
Come here, Chloe.
Chloe.
I'm sorry, Chloe.
Chloe snuck in. Say hi.
Yeah.
No, the cat.
Shadows of the Empire was a really good game.
Yeah, that was a
Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Might be my
like
favorite.
a really ambitious game for this technology too.
Might be my favorite Star Wars game.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a few good Star Wars games that came out for 64.
Yeah.
And like Rogue Squadron was one that I had. I got Rogue Squadron. I played the hell out of that game. Of course, GoldenEye.
Oh yeah, I still go back and play GoldenEye a lot.
GoldenEye, Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm. Mario Kart certainly. GoldenEye I wouldn't mind doing after this.
Yeah, GoldenEye would be fun.
Kind of gonna go out of order on this one.
Let's see here. Okay, so the question came in: why do so few actors make the series film transit?
Make the transition between what, like comedy to serious?
Maybe series film. You mean like TV to film? Is that kind of what you meant? Here, I'll look at the normal chat so you can answer yes or no.
No, pay $5 to be more specific.
Pay the $5 to be more specific. No, was you mean like the transition between television and movies? Is that what you meant? You can just say yes in the normal chat. I'll see it. Yes or no. I mean, they're starting to now. I think. You know, there's just what I always heard was that there wasn't as good of money up front for actors to do TV.
Mm.
You know, yes, television and movies. Yeah. Super chat only allows 50. That's the super chat. 50 signs. Okay, yeah. No, yeah. Okay. So why do so few make the transition from television to movies? I heard it was a money thing. Like, and it also, like, certain movie actors felt like it would cheapen their brand.
Oh yeah, because like I remember hearing about how it was a really big deal in the 70s when Robert Blake started doing Beretta because he was getting to be really popular in movies, and it had, I think, maybe a couple of hits. And then decided to do a TV series, and it was Beretta. And I remember reading where that was considered to be a very surprising move by a lot of people.
Well, I think it goes down to kind of something we were talking about earlier, which is like the Netflix thing and so forth. And like does it cheapen the brand or does it cheapen the whatever by doing these things? And television was very much seen as this. That's not cinema. That's not story. Television. Especially you're talking about like TV. I mean, it's where you go to watch news or you watch game shows. And then it was off air.
In the 70s.
And
procedural sitcoms, the news.
Sure, right, yeah, old and then it was off air for a lot of time,
I'm old enough to remember that when they used to sign off.
When they would end their broadcast day, I remember that too. So it's the, it was, serious actors, that were in feature films and the movies weren't really interested in that. And I mean, they say a lot of that still, but now you've got HBO making television series that are better than movies. You've got Netflix making, they're putting so much money, and I think that was part of it too, is that you'd put $9-10 million into a movie, whereas a TV series you wouldn't put that much money into an episode.
Yeah.
So like the production value was way less. It was very expensive to make these things, and whereas you would see pretty much immediate returns from a movie. You wouldn't see those returns from a TV series so much.
Yeah.
Networks got their money through advertisements, and and then they really made their money through like residuals by selling it off to like local TV stations for replays. So like you're not with movies, you're making your money back pretty much instantly. More or less instantly. But with a TV series, you wouldn't make it back as quickly. So I can see why they wouldn't want to do that. Now I don't think it's as big of a deal. Now I think there's plenty of TV series, even like normal network stuff. They're putting a hell of a lot of money into those.
It's a lot of the examples, the most notorious examples of an actor leaving a popular series to go into movies and then it didn't really work out. Would be like when David Caruso left NYPD Blue. Because David Caruso, it was a very. Detective, when he played Detective Kelly on NYPD Blue, that was a star-making role for him, and he got rave reviews for it. It was also a very different kind of role for David Caruso at the time. And 5 episodes into the second season, he left and started doing movies and did a couple, and neither of them did well. Even though Kiss of Death is honestly a really good movie. But there was Kiss of Death and Jade, and neither of them did well, and it just became this notorious example of that. Same with Shelley Long leaving Cheers for a movie career, and even she did The Money Pit. I thought was really funny. Outrageous Fortune I liked, but did like Hello Again and a few others, and it didn't really work out. Brady Bunch movie was kind of a hit. But that wasn't really based on her star power, really. Brady Bunch movie being a hit.
Totally, yeah, exactly.
She's really good in the movie, but those are like big examples I can think of that transition not being entirely successful.
Right.
But those are older examples.
Well, they're examples, but they're kind of why, to answer the question, why a lot of actors are skittish about that. Yeah. And probably like their agents and their management team tell them not to do something like that. Because they're worried. They're like, listen, you're a star. You're a big movie star. I mean, she's been a lot quieter in her career right now, but like why Jennifer Lawrence wouldn't have done a TV series. Like she was one of the biggest names in Hollywood. She won the Oscar. Like Emma Stone, she's not doing TV series. They're the biggest Oscar-winning names in Hollywood. They're not going to do TV series.
Yeah.
And another part of that is, honestly, when they're that big, they're too expensive to put into a TV series.
Yeah.
When they have that kind of star power, you can't afford to put them in a TV series, especially because again, a TV series doesn't make its money back. Even to today, from my understanding, is that they're until you get what do they call that? Where they're help me out here. What is it they call where they go to like local TV stations?
Oh, syndication?
Syndication.
Yeah.
That's it. Until they get some type of syndication deal, the TV series don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's why sometimes you can have a really popular series that's really well rated. they don't last long. Maybe not because of the bad ratings, or they're just too expensive to make. You know, and the studio decides to pull the plug because they can't keep making expensive episodes for 4 seasons in the hope that it sticks around for 4 seasons to get it into syndication. So you know, there's a lot more risk with television. I think it's different, and I think a lot of that's because of Netflix and Amazon and Hulu, because they have their money through subscription services. So they have a hell of a lot of money. They got cash in the bank to take a risk on a show.
Yeah.
So you get something like a Netflix, or you get something like a Hulu or an Amazon, where they can make a series and be a little less worried about it being, you know, making money, because it's a Prime series. So you're watching it through Amazon Prime, or you're watching it through Netflix exclusively. So yeah, that's I think that's my thought on why a lot of actors haven't done it. But I think in the future we'll see a lot more do it.
Almost happened with Don Johnson on Miami Vice, because he got so big from Miami Vice that there was like serious negotiations going on after the 2nd season, I think, and it came like super close that he was going to leave, and obviously that didn't happen, but it got to be so close that they had, I think, like Mark Harmon in line to like take his place.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So the next question here is, you've both lived on the coast and moved back. What do you like about the Midwest, and what do you miss about where you used to be?
We both lived on the West Coast in different circumstances.
Right.
You lived out there up until here recently, and, you know, you working for the asylum and everything, whereas me, I lived out there for about 6 months in 2004. This was long before doing YouTube and doing any of this. This was back in my drinking and drug days. So the only contribution I think I made to the entertainment industry out there was when I directed that porn. So we both lived under wildly different circumstances, and I came back here because doing what I wanted to do, which was, you know, little movies and things like that, it's easier to do that. It's easier to do that here, making the movies I was making at the time, and oh, I think I fucked up. Oh, I mean, cost of living is way cheaper out here. Plus, my friends and family are all out here as well.
Yeah. My thoughts on that are similar. Like I moved to LA obviously to work in the entertainment industry, and it was, you know, I had seen quite a bit of success, and, you know, as I was continuing to work, like I also have, you know, I have a growing family. You know, I'm married, and then I have a 5-year-old, and then we're expecting another one in June, and, you know, cost of living is a serious problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a major concern, and it's something that, you know, you read articles in the Hollywood Reporter. I saw one just, you know, within the past couple months or so, of people who are working in the film industry who are living in their car.
Yeah.
And like
what kind of jobs?
The crew jobs.
Oh,
you know?
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, you know, working, honest to God, real good jobs on union shows.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, the you know, people who are in a union job on a network show, and they're living in their car, because even though on a union show working as a crew or something, like, they're getting decent enough money, not like crazy money, but decent money.
Yeah.
Living in LA is so expensive. I mean, it's getting to the point that it's getting to be like San Francisco.
Is it significantly more expensive out there?
It's way more expensive in San Francisco. Like in San Francisco, you hear stories of people who work at Google, who are making $300,000 a year or something, who are living in a truck that they bought. Like they bought like a box truck.
That's crazy.
And they got an IKEA furniture and they put it in the back of this cube box truck, and they park it in the parking lot. And like Google has showers and restaurants and things like that, so they live in this truck. And they're using their salary to save up a down payment on what's going to be a $10 million house. But, you know, a minimum down payment on a $10 million house is still like, you know, I forget, I don't know if my math is exactly right here, but like, you know, $300,000-$500,000 cash you need just to get a down payment on a house like that. It's insane. So they have to live like that because you can't buy a house. You just can't. And honestly, rent is still going to be $3,000-$4,000 a month. Yeah. So you're better off, you know, living in your car, saving money, trying to get a down payment on a house. And
in Springfield, I'll put it to you like this: for people watching, in Springfield, you can get a house for what it costs for a studio apartment.
Well,
in New York or Chicago or LA.
Right, and that's you know where I was going with this is that, you know, with as much as I was doing, there were two things that kind of happened. In one is that, you know, my family was growing, but two was that the type of work I was doing as an editor was having me travel a lot. Was having me actually like go with production to do like live editing on set. Okay. And what that meant is that I was leaving my wife and my daughter alone and then traveling for a couple months. And, you know, more or less they were fine. They're perfectly happy. But like now, especially with my wife expecting another child, I was getting really skittish about the idea of leaving my now pregnant wife and child by themselves to go to Thailand for 2 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right? You know, like that. So I'm totally fine. You know, with well, I mean, my wife was totally fine with me doing this. Like, she knew it was my career, and she was happy to do it. But I mean, I just, you know, as a father and as a husband, realizing the stress that I was putting my family through to do this, especially when like a lot of the I'm, you know, I have offers for later this year to work on another couple movies. That are again travel movies. Or there are things that I would work on remotely. Like they send me a hard drive.
What's the farthest you've had to travel for something?
As of like, I didn't do that Thailand job. Yeah. But New York, I've gone all the way to New York.
Yeah, I remember like you going to Buffalo.
Buffalo, New York, a few times to work there. But you know, it's you know, it's there's the world I'm in, which is these, you know, movies like Asylum and kind of lower budget you know, sci-fi movies, which are great. I love doing. They're causing a lot of travel, or they send a hard drive, you know. Yeah. And then the final piece is if I really want to work on a show, like there's a potential TV series that I've been asked to work on, and if it goes, I probably will. That worked for like 3 months. Well, now, you know, it's better because I've moved my family here to the Midwest. Yeah. My family's here. Laura's family's here. You know, if I get that series, which it sounds like I probably will, that'll be later this year, I can go away for 3 months, and I can comfortably leave my wife, my infant daughter, and my 5-year-old here, knowing that my parents, her parents, and you know, so many other people for support are here for them. Yeah. You know, and the final piece for why I came here is obviously to work with Brad. Yeah. You know, I mean, like,
the Nintendo 64 is here.
Just to sit here. This is where, as far as I know, this is the only Nintendo 64 in existence. And
they got to be very rare.
They're very rare. So like, you know, I want, you know, this was a great opportunity to come back and to really be full time working here for the Cinema Snob. Yeah. And so, you know, and thanks to the movie, because the movies, you know, have done so well, and so, you know, a lot of it made a lot of sense. So, I mean, that's why I came back here. And like, you know, to the question of do I miss California? I mean, yeah, I do. I mean, California is beautiful. I lived in Valencia. I lived in, you know, the Santa Clarita area north of Los Angeles, up in the mountains. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was, you know, beautiful blue skies in the mountains, and you know what's not to love. About the view and about the area, the, you know, the weather being nice, and you know, the opportunities, it's great. But like, you know, you get to a point with your family that I could either spend. We were spending a little over $3,000 a month for rent. Yeah. On a townhouse there in Valencia, which was actually a pretty good deal. You know, or we could, you know, but you know, obviously, like I said, the other things, if I'm leaving my wife there by herself, she has no family, she has no support while she's raising 2 kids. Or I could come here and for, you know, the tiniest fraction of that, I could own a house.
Yeah.
That is mine, that I've mortgaged. And Laura can teach, and she's happy, and she's close to family. And she's now a rep for a company called Matilda Jane, selling kids' clothes. So she's super happy with all that. So it's like, as much as I love, as I loved, working out there and doing all that, it made so much sense for us to be here.
I don't miss California. I understand why people do. I understand why you do. I understand why my mom lives in Long Beach.
Right. Yeah.
So I understand why she misses it when she comes here to visit. When I go to California, like LA, wherever, I'm typically ready to leave when I go back. I'm a Chicago guy. I'm way more.
LA, the city, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's why I moved to Santa Clarita, because Santa Clarita is a suburb. Santa Clarita, honestly, it's twice the size population as Springfield, but it feels like Springfield. There's 3 Walmarts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a suburb.
Yeah.
Like I like living in the major city. Like I lived downtown Chicago when I was in college, and then I lived in like North Hollywood. So I've done living in the city. I'm done with it.
Yeah, LA, I'm typically ready to leave, whereas I can go to Chicago anytime. I love Chicago, and I love New York too. I love New York. I like those metropolitan cities like that.
Sure, yeah. LA's a sprawling suburb. Is kind of what it feels like. But,
I haven't been to LA in a while. I didn't even realize until last time I was in Long Beach that when I lived in Long Beach in 2004. I lived like a block down from the Dexter house.
Oh, nice.
This was before I didn't know that at the time because it was before. I think I was there before Dexter even started.
Sure, yeah.
So.
Oh no, yeah. And like when I was in Santa Clarita, and Santa Clarita had its own studios. It had Santa Clarita Studios, and like the Santa Clarita Diet, that show.
That's a pretty funny show. I saw the first season.
It was shot all in Santa Clarita. Yeah. That's all there. The Santa Clarita Studios. That show SWAT. That is on, I think, Fox.
Oh, I forgot they brought back SWAT. Yeah.
SWAT. They shoot in Santa Clarita all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's Fox. It's either Fox or CBS. But they shoot. Are you done?
I did it.
Yeah. But they shoot up there all the time. I mean, it was. As a film geek and as a person who wanted to work in the industry, being around all the productions was nice. But my priorities are that I want to continue to work in this, but I also want to have a comfortable life for my family.
Yeah.
Like that's more important to me. I mean, and Caroline was doing cool stuff. We had her in a modeling agency.
Oh yeah.
Like she's on a box for a game.
Which game?
It's called the Crazy Toaster.
Oh, okay.
And like back when Toys R Us was still alive, like you could get it at Toys R Us, and I think you can get it as well. But like she's on the front of the box, So we had cool opportunities there. But,
that is cool.
But it does come down to I mean, how much happier my daughter is to be around her cousins. She has 4
that's
cousins.
true. Yeah, because your family's here too.
Yeah, my family's here. My daughter's so much happier. And she's 5.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like when she's 13. And she really, really wants to be on the Disney Channel.
Yeah. And
she looks at me and goes, "Why the fuck did you move out of California? We were there. I had a modeling agent, and you moved me, and now we're in middle of nowhere, nothing."
Well, you got family in like small town Missouri. You could have moved.
I could have moved to even smaller town if I wanted to. But
reviewing movies with the Falk Monster. I know that's not Missouri. I just wanted to. I just like that image in my head.
That's a funny image, yeah.
No, I was gonna tell you some minutes ago that I was going for the last star I needed to get, but I figured I'd surprise you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Since it took so long to get the other one.
You said, "Oh, don't worry, this one won't be 3 hours. 3 hours, 8 minutes later." So
I didn't think in my head to get 100 coins on the one was gonna be such a pain in the ass. Damn.
So okay, one last quick super chat question.
Oh yeah, so get the questions in to wrap up this segment. I technically made it under the last one. So
the last one we have up here, and we'll answer this question. If you got any more, you can put them in, and we'll make sure we get them before we sign off here. But the last one we have here was from Blake. Blake again. What was Lloyd and Chloe's first interaction like? Can you tell us your pet history?
They shared a plate of spaghetti. Wait, why did I pick that as the reference from Lady and the Tramp? Because that doesn't have Siamese cats in it.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
Why did I go for that? I went for the most obvious movie. I didn't pick the right reference. Obviously, they were going after a goldfish. No, Lloyd and Chloe. When we got Lloyd and Chloe, they belonged to. They were raised together, so they already knew each other when we got them.
Are they siblings or?
No, they're not. But we ended up adopting them from a family because their son had developed a really bad allergy and was looking for a good home for the Siamese cats. And ever since I was born, we've been a Siamese cat household. We've always had Siamese, so I was certainly wanting to get Siamese for the house. And me and Jillian were together at the time, and she found on the message board that this mother was put up a post saying like they had a couple Siamese cats, so we went. So yeah, we adopted Lloyd and Chloe, and so they already knew each other, and they'll get in little tiffs every now and then. Like the reason why you see more of Lloyd on camera is he's very much a Siamese cat. And Siamese cats are great because they're great communicators, they're great talkers, they have wonderful personalities. Lloyd's very much like that. He likes chatting, he likes talking, so you see him in front of the camera a lot. Whereas Chloe is actually pretty quiet. Chloe's really, really sweet. Of course, I mean both of them are. But Chloe tends to kind of she's not so much shy. She just because she's certainly a lap cat. She's definitely very, very curious. Sometimes to a fault. Like the one time we found her in the garbage. Don't do that. But she's not very vocal. She's very, very quiet and kind of keeps to herself a little bit. So Lloyd, he is more prone to pop up on camera, certainly, and is a lot chatty and more vocal. So it makes sense that Lloyd would be the breakout star. Right. And work as a private detective on an animated series. And that Chloe would be his secretary. But they'll get in their tiffs every now and then. They'll chase each other throughout the house. Sometimes Chloe will start it. Sometimes Lloyd will start it. They'll just be sitting there and just bat each other on the head. And chase each other. Sometimes I have to break them up a little bit. But then, other times they're just laying down sleeping. But yeah, that's and then he applied for a detective's license.
It happens. Cats do that.
If you haven't seen the Lloyd animated series, you should watch that.
Check it out. It's very well done. The Toonworks guys did an amazing job.
They did a great job.
Very funny series.
It's one of my favorite things that we've done. I had a great time writing that. It came out awesome. I'm really proud of that show. Yeah, give that a watch if you haven't seen it. So is that it?
That's it.
All right. I'm going to bed.
Go sleep.
Right. I'm saying that, but I'm not even gonna do that because I gotta. I gotta render that snob episode and upload it to Patreon.
Go work.
So subscribe to us at youtube.com/Stone Gremlin Productions. Follow us on Twitter as well at the Cinema Snob so you can get updates on live streams and new videos. And if you subscribe to us, you get the alerts as well for whenever we go live. And come see us at Wizard World Cleveland. That's March 8th through the 10th. I'll be there. You'll be there. Laura will be there. So yeah, a few of us will be there in Cleveland all weekend long. That's it. WizardWorld.com, and our promo code for 20% off is Cinema20.
Yep.
And again, thank you so much, everyone, for watching this. I hope this was entertaining because of how long it took me to get that shit. Maybe my frustration played really funny.
I hope so, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It didn't look like we lost any viewers when that was happening.
No, we were still happy.
We were still getting questions, so that's a good sign. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. And the next time we do this, it'll be It'll be the last set of levels for it. I think I only need to get like 17 or more stars. I can't remember, but yeah. So the next one will be the last one. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you next time.